Hey Barbie, can I come to your house today?
Sure. I don't have anything big planned, just a giant blowout party with all the Barbies and planned choreography and a bespoke song. You should stop by.
So cool.
Just 3 weeks ago, we talked about Noah Baumbach's career and the crazy trip that it took from kicking and screaming to the Barbie movie. In 2010, Noah Baumbach met his future partner Greta Gerwig when he cast her in 2010's Greenberg opposite Ben Stiller.
I'm impressed by you.
In what way?
I don't know. I mean, you seem really fine doing nothing. It's like you don't feel all the pressure to be successful. I mean, by other people's standards.
From there, Baumbach worked with the 28-year-old Greta Gerwig on a screenplay for Frances Ha. Their creative partnership has continued for over a decade as Greta Gerwig has transitioned into directing her own films.
It's what I want in a relationship, which might explain why I'm single now. Haha. It's kind of hard to. It's that thing when you're with someone and you love them and they know it and they love you and you know it, but it's a party and you're both talking to other people and you're laughing and shining.
First, the semi-autobiographical coming-of-age story Lady Bird, and then an adaptation of Little Women. And now, after working with her partner Noah Baumbach on a screenplay, the absolute summer juggernaut, the Barbie movie.
Looking good, Barbie.
Thanks, guys.
The Barbie movie has exploded into theaters, quickly becoming the first blockbuster directed by a woman to hit $1 billion globally. A Barbie movie had long been in the works, as far back as 2009, with Mattel signing various deals to have the movie developed. Multiple writers, from Sex and the City writer Jenny Bix to Amy Schumer, who would have also starred, to Diablo Cody. In 2018, Margot Robbie entered negotiations to produce the Barbie movie with her husband, who is also her frequent production partner, Tom Ackerley. After seeing Little Women in 2019, Margot Robbie approached Greta Gerwig about writing and directing the project, which she was now going around pitching all over the place. Gerwig enlisted Noah Baumbach, and they worked on the script throughout the COVID-19 pandemic.
But I think it was something, it was such a, honestly, it was such a head scratcher, like to figure out, like, how are we, what is the story we're going to tell here? What is even, like, how do we deal with this? I mean, Barbie's been invented, she was invented in 1959 and she exists until now. And she's gone through so many different iterations, and my mom did not like Barbie, and so I had all of that front of mind of like all the ways in which she's a complicated icon. And I think instead of rejecting all of that, we just sort of ran towards it. Like all of the complications and all of the things that felt thorny was like, let's start there.
Gerwig wanted to both criticize and celebrate Barbie, to acknowledge the feminism behind the creation of the dolls, but also to criticize the unrealistic beauty standards that Barbie has contributed to. The criticism and mockery of Mattel and Gerwig's screenplay was controversial to the company executives who had greenlit the initial project. The Mattel CEO opted to give Gerwig creative freedom. The result is a film which has been celebrated for being subversive even as Mattel cashes in on it. As the hype and monetary gains have built up, the Barbie movie has obviously become a controversial topic. Political pundits have attempted to drain cultural capital from the pop feminism that Gerwig has brought to the project. In some cases, it has reached the kind of feverish hysteria that can only be understood in the context of this Cold War climate.
For those of you who can't wait that long, I'm going to give a review of the Barbie movie in the most Oppenheimer fashion. What the f***?
Greta Gerwig is definitely an interesting director for a project like this. Gerwig's mother wouldn't let her get a Barbie. As what she calls a child of the 60s, her mom was quick to point out the problematic and unrealistic nature of Barbie in general. However, she eventually relented and bought her a Barbie. These two sides of Barbie, as an important cultural touchstone and a symbol of modernity, but also the unrealistic body image and rampant consumerism symbolically attached to it. A doll which is truly emblematic of both our good intentions and our excesses as a consumer culture. Barbie lives in Barbie Land, an idyllic community where Barbie is in charge and everything is great for the Barbies. It is a pink utopia, a feminist matriarchy, where Barbie is on top and Ken lives to be noticed by her, and it's assumed that the real world is like that too. However, a sense of disequilibrium begins to plague stereotypical Barbie, played by Margot Robbie.
Do you guys ever think about dying?
She begins to take on the flaws that make us human, from flat feet to cellulite to anxious thoughts about death.
And my heels are on the ground.
This comes from the relationship between a child or a woman and Barbie being frayed. Barbie is sent by Weird Barbie, a grotesque version of Barbie played by Kate McKinnon, who has been played with too hard, into the real world to confront and fix whatever is causing this disequilibrium. Along with Barbie comes Ken, played by Ryan Gosling, an overlooked member of the underclass, the Kens, who are possibly homeless and live to be noticed by the Barbies.
But it's Barbie and Ken. There is no just Ken.
This journey into the real world is jarring, and Barbie and Ken realize that the ideal society they believed in that Barbie Land represented as a reflection of the real world, while not for Ken, is far from being the actual reality. I like the fact that Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach don't lay this at Barbie's feet, or even the creator Ruth Handler's feet, but at a larger patriarchal system.
You set the feminist movement back 50 years. You destroy girls' innate sense of worth, and you are killing the planet with your glorification of rampant consumerism. No, I'm supposed to help you and make you happy and powerful. Oh, I am powerful. And until you showed up here and declared yourself Barbie, I hadn't thought about you in years, you fascist.
Barbie believes that she's been a positive role model and influence, and is horrified to find out that the Barbie brand has been detrimental to the self-esteem and body image of many women.
I think you have that the wrong way around. You represent everything wrong with our culture. Sexualized capitalism, unrealistic physical ideals. No. You're describing something stereotypical. Barbie is so much more than that. Look at yourself. Well, I am technically stereotypical Barbie.
Ken, however, quickly realizes that this mirror world has men on top and seeks to emulate the concept of patriarchy in order to get some respect. Barbie also realizes that the real Mattel, a company run by men, including Will Ferrell, is seeking to trap her in a box to bring her out of the real world and escape the embarrassment of dolls come to life. We also get Barbie taken to task, at least symbolically, when she meets a preteen girl named Sasha, who lists off in rapid fire all the problems with Barbie as a consumer product, subjecting her to a stinging feminist rebuke delivered in a way only a preteen mean girl can. I'm not sure what would symbolize a better welcome to the real world moment. The Barbie movie is definitely silly, it's mostly fun, but has some surprisingly nuanced things to say about self-acceptance, feminism, and being a more accepting society. And I think Greta Gerwig is a great person to tell that story as someone with feet in multiple worlds.
Oh, looks like this beach was a little too much beach for you, Ken.
If I wasn't severely injured, I would beat you off right now, Ken.
I'll beach off with you any day, Ken.
Hold my ice cream, Ken. All right, Ken, you're on. Let's beach off.
Anyway, before I introduce the panel, please like this video and subscribe to the Movie Night Extravaganza YouTube channel. Hit that bell to get notified whenever we're streaming. Also, we are now monetized, so if you have any pressing questions during this live stream, send us a super chat, which helps me keep the show running, which I am obligated by international law, human rights law, to answer. We also have a Patreon, patreon.com/movie night extra. All of our after parties are on there forever. Okay, let me introduce the panel. Conan Neutron, host of Protonic Reversal, co-host of Movie Night Extravaganza, and frontman for Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends, neutronfriends.bandcamp.com. Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends have a new split EP with Lung called Adult Prom. Jay Underworld, illustrator, book cover artist, artist for Give Them an Argument, co-host for Movie Night Extravaganza, and Bad Takes. Kristina Oakes, this Barbie is streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/cosmopolitics, Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky at Cosmopolitics. Send her some subs on Twitch. Lauren Chouinard is a writer and social media strategist who writes film reviews for Merry Go Round magazine and is on Letterboxd as Lonely Goat Herd. I, of course, am your host, coming to you live from my Mojo Dojo Casa House basement, Forrest Miller. I'll see you on the Malibu beach.
Fantastic. I have no notes.
I love it.
Wow. What a feat this movie is. Like, just like there's nothing about this that should work.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I mean, I just rewatched Legally Blonde 2, and that's what this movie should be, like on paper. And it's surprisingly better than Legally Blonde 1, which I will defend. You're here, folks.
Barbie walks so Elle Woods could run.
Yes.
Lauren, welcome back.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here.
It's our official Greta Gerwig correspondent.
Absolutely. And I had so much
got
fun
a title.
doing Lady Bird.
Yeah. I mean, it's the best. It's great to have you. You were one of my first Letterboxd friends. So
That's right.
Speaking of Barbie, did you guys know
Look
that
at us
Barbie
now.
was
Sorry,
inspired by a German sex doll?
Yeah. Well, that was Eileen, friend of the show, Eileen Jones, wrote that whole article in Jacobin about Barbie, and I forget. Christine, do you remember the name of the doll? I don't. But yeah, it was like
It was like a French doll, and her name was Lily.
It was
like she's kind of like one of those, like, you know, those hula girls that you put on like the dash of your car, and then they just kind of like. Ooh. So it was like she was like that.
Yeah, it's like, yo, I like to get down. Check out this doll. All right, yeah, sure.
I remember back in the 90s, we had there was a graphic novel conference, and
that's what she looked like. That was
in the middle of the graphic novel conference, this woman gives this great, she does her whatever study paper she wrote on Barbie, where she pulls out X-rays of somebody who swallows Barbie heads, and went through the history of Barbie and called it Barbie the Edible Disorder.
What?
But
that makes a lot of sense because I chewed on a lot of Barbie shoes as a child.
Yeah, apparently there's a guy out in California who has a fetish of like cutting off Barbie heads and swallowing them.
Oh
They
my
got a
god!
fetish for everything these days.
Those are some weird Barbies for sure in Barbie land.
Weird Barbie looking real normal now.
Legally Blonde too. That's to be fair, that was my reaction, but I was too much of a gentleman to say anything. The second watch is the part that got me.
Legally Blonde 37.
I haven't watched Legally Blonde 2 since like I don't even think my second child was born. So you know,
all right, let the record show. Fine. All right. So I think that again, I still I've seen it twice now in theaters, and I still can't get over. There's no part of this should work, and it's so great. Like, how is this so great? And the only answer I have is that Greta Gerwig is a sorcerer. That's really what it comes down to.
I think a big part of it is her nuanced relationship to Barbie, like as an individual, which like makes sense if you watch like any of her, her like pre-directorial movies that she like helped write. Like she's a very complicated kind of person. And of course, even Little
Women, like if you look at like what she put into Little Women, right, and what she got out of it, which is to say something that even if you don't really care about that book, like you're like, oh no, I get like why this connected with people, and like I get the emotional resonance of this, and honestly, it's just like, oh no, it's just a great film.
She seems more like a Little Women kind of person than a Barbie person, is what I'll say. Right?
Oh, sure. Yeah, no.
But I mean,
yeah.
she's also an artist, and like that's the important thing is that she's an artist, and she was given a chance to actually, do her craft, and this is what happens.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, Hollywood's going to learn all their long lessons from it. And
they already have.
They're going to just try to all right, we can do make 20 of these.
Yes.
No,
Let's make
a
movie.
Yeah.
Let's make.
What was it? Was it the Polly Pocket?
With
Lena Dunham's Polly Pocket. Yeah, no, thank you. That's
the
a
only
pass
way.
for me.
The only way that. All right, this joke's gonna really.
Polly Pocket come on.
This joke might not land. The only way a Jenga movie is working is if a couple planes hit it. And,
oh shit!
Wow.
And it's.
I mean,
Moving to Extravaganza has been demonetized now, or extra monetized.
Well, no, it's like someone grappling with their own personal relationship to the Twin Towers falling, but through Jenga, and that's the only way.
It's all an allegory.
It's basically a remake of
an allegory for the post-millennial fall of society.
Look, I would mock that. I would mock that, but there's a Battleship movie.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
And that was pre Hollywood.
That was before this. Yeah, exactly. They made a movie about freaking Battleship. Amazing.
I mean, I'm open to a Barbie sequel about her trying to navigate in the real world and experience stuff like love. Hey, Dan. And the only way BarbenHeimer can finally commence really is for Cillian Murphy to play the love interest in the Barbie sequel. Everyone's like,
I agree.
And I'm like, no, love interest, come on.
But hasn't Greta said that she's not interested in doing a sequel?
I mean, people are like, but I'm
so the U.S. government, right, finds Barbie World, Barbie World, right, they use it for an atomic testing site.
Right.
The guy that sets up the atomic testing site is Cillian Murphy. He's not Oppenheimer in this one though. He's he's like
the time travel membrane is broken, and now.
Well, I mean, it does kind of look like Nevada and Barbie, at least the outskirts of it, right?
Yeah.
And then Ken somehow becomes Charlton Heston and that movie that Omega Man, wandering around the desert fighting mutants.
Sure.
You know what's interesting is the long list of movies that inspired.
There's that movie with Nathan Lane and
that was Mouse Hunt.
Yeah, but that's it
it had mouse in the name. It's enough for me. It's
and they're trying
greenlit.
to trap him.
Uncle Alligator says I'm fine with it. Christina, go ahead.
Uncle Alligator in the chat.
Okay.
So I got my laptop up, and there's a long list of movies that Greta Gerwig used for Barbie. That were inspirations, which
good, solid. Chat's on fire tonight.
Yeah,
and I can when we do the after party, I can pull that up. There's a letterbox video where she lists. It's just too long for an actual episode. I think it's 13 minutes.
Yeah,
but she lists off
many, and
movies.
I can see why. watching this as many times as I have, not to brag or anything, but I've seen it about 10 times now. I can see
I didn't know that was a brag, but all right.
But I can see how the films inspire these, this movie. I can see where Saturday Night Fever comes in, because when Ken's discovering that men rule the world, he's strutting to stuff like Tony from Saturday Night Fever. My mom's she's like, is that why Staying Alive is on the official playlist for the Barbie movie? I'm like, yeah.
Well, and the dance number too, it's way Staying Alive. If you stop and think about it, the choreography and everything.
It's Staying Alive, and also it's kind of West Side Story.
Totally. Yeah.
When they're going after each other, they flip around. They're like,
we should let the theater kid have her say. Go ahead, Lauren.
In the background is very much like that Singing in the Rain, American in Paris ballet numbers.
Yep.
But then they threw in every decade's worth of dance moves.
Yep.
And
there's even some Busby Berkeley kind of stuff.
Yes,
totally.
And Busby Berkeley was not fun to work with. Let me tell you.
What did you do? Are you speaking from personal experience? What is this?
But he was a difficult director to work with, because he was known for those very difficult dance numbers, and it cost Judy Garland in the Gun movie.
Yeah.
By the way, for anyone in the chat or whatever that hasn't seen it, I believe Sunday is National Cinema Day, and all the chain theaters have, I think, $4 or $5.
$4.
$4 movie tickets. So anybody that hasn't seen Barbie movie or like Oppenheimer, that definitely should. That's in the chat or whatever is watching this later. If you go to like most like chain cinemas, they have on Sunday they have like $4 tickets. I mean, they might all be sold out. You know, when it gets to that.
Isn't it gonna
Some
be?
select theaters are showing Lady Bird, so you could bang with the Greta Gerwig
Really?
Lady Bird, and then you
Yeah.
can go watch Barbie.
The
and-
bird bee.
Bird bee.
Well, that's interesting because that would be an interesting double feature because I think you can kind of people that because there's a lot of people coming in to see Barbie that have no frame of reference, right? They never saw Little Women. They sure as hell never saw Lady Bird.
You have no frame of reference, Donnie.
But it's something where I think if you are familiar with those movies, then like the sensibility that she brings to this makes sense, right? Like it's celebratory but also self-aware, not cripplingly self-aware.
Yeah.
And that's so key. That's such a hard balance beam to walk. And I think most movies unfortunately get over it in the like nudge nudge wink wink territory. Not the Monty Python bit, and to the detriment of the art itself.
Know what I mean? Know what I mean?
Know what I mean?
What I really like about too with Greta's like kind of filmography, at least the stuff that she's just directed, is that you see the ripple effects of each of the previous works on the next work, even though they are they couldn't be more different from each other. It's like you've got your indie darling, and you've got your big blockbuster with like huge brand credibility, and then you have a period piece, and yet they're all speaking to the same themes of like feminism, and they have and she's really big on needle drops, which you see a lot of in like obviously in Barbie and then in Lady Bird. One of my favorite things about Lady Bird is that she hand wrote letters to all the people whose songs she wanted in Lady Bird in the hopes that they would like just give her the rights, and then it was like so much easier for her to get the rights to the things she wanted in Barbie. And you just see it as just not only are these things standing alone, but that it's kind of like building a pyramid. Like
because she uses it as part of the storytelling, right?
Sense.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Kristina. Go ahead.
But that's why I think like her needle drops make sense because the songs that are used, like they represent like what's happening and the vibes of the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I really like that for this movie. It's like a original soundtrack, right? Like each artist kind of came up with something, and it's like, I mean, like Conan and all of us were talking about how like it's definitely not like your thing. The pop.
It's not supposed to be. But it's not supposed to be my thing.
I'm saying like it's kind of fascinating that it's like all like current, right? Like top.
Yeah, I like it in spite of that. Like even though it's not like
I love it.
Sure. I'm sure. Okay, I'm sure you do. That's fine. I'm saying it misses me on that, but the thing is it's perfect for the movie. And that's
it's also
more
for, like,
important.
this marketing rollout. That's
and think about what this is, right? Exactly, and the larger cultural cachet of Barbie as a a global entity and worldwide known name, and what she's doing with this, it completely makes sense. And also, and I never mentioned this in the Letterboxd review where I specifically called out the music is missing me. I love a song that references what's happening on the screen.
Yeah.
And it does that so well, and it's how you know you're in for something really funny.
My favorite one is where it's after the disco
almost
party.
Got through it.
And Ken's leading in, and you hear like Silver Platter, which is like a song about like give me a chance to prove that I can be your man or something like that, and she's just like.
I think so. For people that may be coming from less of an open mind, I think when you hear the song about like when things start going wrong and the lyrics start it's kind of shorthand for it's okay to like be in on the joke at this point, and that's welcoming and open in a way that again hard line to walk because you can go the other way and it just be like too like nudge nudge wink wink, and then if it's too subtle, it's not gonna work. People are just going to be like sitting there like being like, well, I don't know if I like this. I don't know.
Well, and that's kind of like what I thought was, I don't know if we're going to get this later in the cast, but since we're on the topic of needle drops, my favorite of all favorite moments in the whole movie was the use of Matchbox 20's Push.
Yes.
I don't like that song, but it is absolutely perfect. For what that is.
I think personally that it is the best use of diegetic music in a feature film of all time. I think it's so great because what she's doing is she is doing that thing where she's talking about she's talking about what's going on and the action that's happening like right in the moment in the movie, but she's also putting in subversive messaging that foreshadows what the end of the movie is going to be just by repurposing these lyrics from this kind of throwaway, kind of shitty song from the 90s.
Right. Yeah.
And I love that. And one of the things that really struck me about that moment, number one, is that I've been a victim of being guitared at. So I really
that's such a good line too.
Being guitared at. And I was like, okay, yeah, I know exactly what this is like.
Yeah.
But but also what I really appreciated about it is that when you really listen to the words and then you like, I guess Rob Thomas did like an interview about what Push is about, because people were like, it's kind of weird that it's like a song about like push you to like, is this like a domestic violence thing? And he was like,
he was abused, wasn't he, or something like that?
Yeah, it was like he was talking about how he was in a very emotionally manipulative relationship when he wrote that, and he was just going through a lot of like feelings about this relationship ending and him just kind of having all these like pent up feelings about just feeling really emotionally manipulated. What's so cool about the use of that song during that scene is that it's during the scene where the Kens are trying to emotionally manipulate the Barbies into patriarchy, but the Barbies are emotionally manipulating the Kens into war. So it's
and one of those playing drums. I really appreciated that as a musician. I was like, yes, and he's playing drums and singing unaccompanied, and I again, so subtle, so
you
subtle.
Know what's funny? I did a TikTok of like listening to the song, and I'm like. And then, like, so many dudes were messaging me, like, that's not what the song's about. I'm like, I know music. I know what the song is about. But for this case, it does sound a little weird, the lyrics, when you think about it.
Imagine guys going on a freaking hill to defend Matchbox 20. I'm just saying.
Jesus, exactly. Thank you. Same people that
and because it's in the Barbie movie, like as a joke about, you know what I mean, like about patriarchy and fucking dudes not.
Just like the Snyder Cut joke, right? Yeah. I mean, it's it's coming from the same place.
That were so mad about that. I'm like, let it go. And also, too,
of course they were. Of course they were.
Watching Ben Shapiro's review made me realize why he failed as a screenwriter in Hollywood. He has no vision.
Take a drink.
He doesn't understand the version, and he doesn't understand jokes, and then he gets all mad when we cancel people for not being able to joke about things anymore. I'm like, oh, he just never knew.
He's like,
it's genuinely psychotic,
relate to Space Odyssey. I'm like, everyone knows the theme to 2001: A Space Odyssey. Everyone knows The Godfather. Like, everyone knows The Wizard of Oz.
It's genuinely psychotic that he threw a bunch of Barbies in the fucking garbage and then had them scream, like recorded them screaming as he burnt. Like,
someone in the chat wrote, he's Sid from Toy Story.
Yep.
Okay, that's funny.
That's true. That's very true.
I don't think any reaction.
Creativity.
I don't think any reaction to the Barbie movie is interesting in itself whatsoever. Like any of these, reaction videos. I do think it's interesting for this cultural moment where a movie comes out where it's like surprisingly nuanced, right? Like the
very nuanced. Sure.
The end result of the stuff with the Kens isn't like there's no judgment in the end towards the Kens in the sense of like these are shitty, toy human beings. Like in the end, it's about self-acceptance and it's about how being codependent in a relationship isn't good, and each of these people's identity has to be, to be human. I guess like your identity has to be separate from, your partner. You can't define yourself by that. You have to define yourself by your own thing and grow from that. And for like the I guess response to it to be screeching about how a movie is anti-men.
Well, and that's idiotic, and people honestly, and I firmly believe this, shouldn't even bother responding to that because all it does is elevate the person bitching.
But also, let's not because it's a thing that girls like, so they have to tell people how they really feel about what girls like. But I agree with you.
I know what girls like. I know.
But the subplot is an unjust system is still an unjust system, no matter who's running it, and that's something that like. God, if these guys had an ounce of integrity or interest in actually starting a discussion, that's a great discussion point. But they don't want to have that discussion.
There is actually one conservative who did have the whole thing of like, hey, this Ken land is kind of great.
It's vision boarding.
I think got it. Like the wrong way.
You get to wear a Rocky coat and watch The Godfather all day. And
Fridges are too small, though. We can't live in a utopian society with that small of a fridge. Come on.
I also like
but that is the B plot, right? It's like self-acceptance at the beginning, but the B plot is like, oh no, it wasn't any better when the Kens were running things. It was like still an unjust system, but then it turns the line back around that, oh, maybe, this utopia that people thought of as Barbie Land is like, well, it's great if you're a Barbie. The Kens don't even have a place to fucking live.
Yeah, well, that's why the joke is like extra.
And they're too dumb to care, but whatever.
The joke is pretty funny at the end where they're asking for a Supreme Court justice, and they're like,
right,
we can give you something on like the lower court.
On the lower courts, yeah.
Just like how women had to deal with that crap in the real world.
No, that's why it's so funny. It's so and
then the narration from Helen Mirren is like, well, give it a little bit of time, and the Kens might have as much power as women have in this society.
Yeah, it's just like, oh man, yeah.
I love Helen Mirren. She's the perfect narrator for this movie.
Yes.
Her little quip where she's like, I know that Margot Robbie is not the best person to point to.
She literally looks like Barbie. I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty anymore, and I'm like,
really?
So one thing to talk about with this, though, I mean, obviously it's the first movie to
Emo Dragon's very brave for this comment. I was such a Matchbox 20 stan in 7th grade. Had every song on Yourself for someone like you memorized.
I'm sorry that I yucked your yum.
But I mean, soft defense to Rob Thomas. He has actually a great sense of humor. Because did you see him on iZombie?
He did a concert where he's like, I want to dedicate this song to Ryan Gosling. Everyone started going wild because.
Stop! Oh my god, I love him.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
No, he seems like a nice dude. Like legit. We can shit on his music, but we're leave.
I've told you all. I've told you about.
Out of this.
I've told you all about the acronym GGBB, right? Have I told you about this? Good guys, bad band.
Oh, yeah.
If you ever hear a band person say GGBB, that's what that means. Is that oh no, they're great, but their music is like ear cancer.
What's interesting to me though about the Kens is that a lot of people are like, the Kens get treated like shit and whatever. I'm like, no, here's the thing: the Ken dolls live for the Barbies. So in a way, their plot is more about being individual, like being
codependence, right? Yes, yeah. Finding self-acceptance and the ability to even have a sense of self.
Well, really. Barbie's all about existentialism, which I'm all for because I'm an existentialist.
Codependency is not something that it's something that transcends gender lines, right? Like there are plenty of men in codependent relationships. I mean, because it's codependent, like you can't be a one-sided. I mean, well, in this movie, he's a one-sided codependent person, but the relationship itself, it's a dynamic between two people, which I think comes back to why this movie really works. There's a non-judgmentalness to it, where the codependency very much is on both sides. It's not as much as the Kens are kind of these pathetic, groveling kind of characters who are just out to get a little bit of respect from as an underclass, I guess, civilization for the first time. The judgment of it is very much on both sides, I think.
Gosling's Ken definitely is, but it feels like there's what's interesting too is that it shows the vast dynamic of the different types of Barbies and the different kinds of Kens, right? There's different aspects of all of them, but they all have the same sort of challenges, and they all have the same aspirations, things along those lines in general, but it's manifested differently. And that's, again, a very humanistic way of approaching that, because there could be a world for this movie that's just it's all Ryan Gosling, right? He's the same Ken, and there's just a million Ryan Goslings.
Supporting actor, he's
awesome. This is arguably, it may be my favorite thing he's done.
It might be the best role of his career.
Yes.
Way
better than
it's the most related. I think jealous kind of drunk Ryan Gosling when he's at the fucking party and he puts the cup over and then joins which this is the funniest day.
Hands it to
it's the funniest walk of all time.
Yeah, but that I think that's the most relatable Ryan Gosling's ever been in any movie.
We forget that he was a Mickey Mouse kid, Mickey Mouse Club kid.
Yeah.
No, he always was an entertainer. He can sing, he can dance.
He's treated like a fucking, in movies, right? He's always the love interest in
But he's also done a lot of Refn's movies, right? He's been the best stuff with NWR, and the whole thing with NWR is all his stuff, the good and bad, it's usually vibe. And so he doesn't like he's getting by on not saying much and sort of like presence, right? And then arguably he did the same sort of thing in Blade Runner 2049, which I like. It's good, but like he's going for it in this, but like great. Even small things when he's like, can I come over to your house? And he's like, yes. Like real like subtle things like that is like,
oh my god, he goes back into the house and he's like, let me think about it. And then apparently he improv this line every time where he gets sublime. Like
he's really
take that they used is hilarious.
He's really good. I know it's hilarious to be talking about the Barbie movie and like praising the dude, right? But like, no, he is really honestly.
He's the standout.
He's really great in this. Like credit where credit's due. Like we all know Margot Robbie's great. Margot Robbie was great, and
she's great in everything she does.
She's pretty consistent. I mean, I can't think of anything she's been in that I didn't like. If she's in something I didn't like, it wasn't because of her. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I mean, she still gives me emotions whenever she tells the old woman that she's beautiful.
It's an incredible scene.
That was the part where I lost it. I mean, a lot of
they wanted to cut that scene out.
That's that.
Yeah, they wanted to, and Greta was like, "Why? This is like the heart of the movie." They're like, "Oh, it's unnecessary."
Oh my gosh, no, it was so necessary.
The flow.
So that was the point that got me. A lot of people.
Will Ferrell played that role.
But like. And the end was very impactful, but that moment where it was like the first time that she let herself break from just the idea of who people want her to be, and then she can actually like experience her emotions, and she doesn't know what that feels like, and then she's just like met with the wisdom of someone like older than her. Is just like I was like, oh, that is a very relatable feeling. And then for the woman to when she's like, you're so beautiful, and the woman just like, I know. I'm like, icon. Like it's just such a beautiful poetic moment.
Like the idea that somebody
on the show anytime, like please, old lady, I don't know what your name is, come on the show.
I love her.
The idea that somebody wanted to cut that is just.
I know.
Repulsive.
And did you guys pay attention to Sasha and her friends? They're named after the Bratz dolls.
Bratz dolls.
Oh, no kidding.
The table. And they have the same hair colors as the Bratz.
Yeah, Chloe,
that rocks.
Sasha, Jasmine, Jade.
Look for their Disney Plus streaming spinoff soon, I guess.
By the way, so the CEO right now of Mattel that greenlit this movie, right, is this guy. I don't even want to. I think his name is Ynon Krates. I don't know. He's like an Israeli. He's like a jacked.
Yo, he looks like he was created by AI. What is up with this dude?
Yeah.
he's like a jacked guy that they brought in.
Check his fingers.
That they brought in from Israel to like run Mattel now, and I guess all of the people under him, like the characters that would have been like around Will Ferrell or whatever, like all those guys.
I'm a mother of a son.
All those guys got very upset about the script for this movie, and they were like, "This movie makes us look like shit. We're not like that." And I guess he had to like rein them in and be like. Let us give her a chance to make this movie, and like
good on him.
It's always good to poke fun at yourself,
they're so close to getting it. You're so close to getting it.
I did definitely like have a moment though where I'm like, I cannot believe that Mattel's team wrote this when they had the homage to Playtime where they have the cubicles that are like all the enclosed little characters, like in the dark. So that's a direct like Jacques Tati reference, but also like it's so like it's just so poetic for like how corporate America really feels. And I was like, I can't believe that Mattel would let themselves be seen in that way. And I might be wrong, but I think that the lobby, the one where Ken like recognizes the patriarchy and he's like walking through, I believe that those are the CAA headquarters.
Yeah.
Because I've been in that building before, I think.
Well, I love the look on his face when he sees the horses.
Well, and and the all-timer line of like, to be honest, I lost interest if I found out it wasn't about horses.
I know.
Same.
Amazing. And like, if you think about it, the whole movie's been building up for that, right? And then it's just like just such a matter of fact, like the delivery, and it's like,
well, he
picks those books, and then he finds the one book about horses, and I'm like, crap.
Well, he keeps trying to bring the horses into it, right? Like, there's the one second where you see his version of Mount Rushmore, and it's
all horses. But it's funny because when he goes to the library, he's like, I'm gonna go to the library and see if any books about cars.
I love if you look at the spine of the books, one of them just says war.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the book War. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
It's a great
speaking of
read.
war, what is it good for?
Yeah.
By the way, another cameo before I forget, because we talked about Barb and Star, when he runs into
Yes.
into the
Anxiety. I have it too.
the first lady he sees is Annie Momolo, who like was the other lady of Barb and Star.
And the anxious lady on the plane of Bridesmaids. So I'm like, oh, that's a tribute to that movie too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the same woman from the plane.
So this is I wanted to play this.
Well, you know, horses are just men extenders. So.
This is an interview that Margot Robbie did about producing.
Hell
So I kind of find it pretty like really cool that like both Greta Gerwig is directing this, obviously, and it's the first movie by a female director to gross $1 billion. But also Margot Robbie produced it, and she
went to bat for it big time.
Yeah,
She's like, it's going to make $1 billion, and then it did.
She hired. She was the one who ended up hiring Greta Gerwig. And she wasn't expecting to star in it
because she has her own production
Like,
company with her husband.
She's like the only person that could star in this.
Yes.
But
the Amy Schumer
Emma
version would
Mackey,
have fucking
her twin.
sucked.
I don't want to see it.
Not the Amy Schumer one.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
Margot, I'll start with you because this is your project. You started this. Now, when you went to see The Toy Maker in 2018, so it's a few years ago, what was driving you then?
I thought it was a big and exciting opportunity. The word Barbie is just already globally recognized. It's
like putting the shrimps on.
And people feel really strongly about Barbie. Some people love Barbie. Some people have a lot of problems with Barbie, but everyone has an associated memory with Barbie, whether they kind of felt ambivalent or indifferent about her, they still remember her. She was kind of omnipresent, I think, in nearly everyone's childhood. And that's just kind of an interesting place to start off with an audience.
And what about that love, hate, makes people angry, makes people love? Was that in your mind at the beginning, or was it just that it was such a powerful global image?
It just felt like we could ignite something with it. It just felt like it seems like over the last 64 years, it hasn't taken much for Barbie to ignite conversation or sometimes, revolutions or protests. It's very, I don't know, there's something about Barbie that just always kind of blows things up. And I just thought
Barbie.
We could do something exciting with it if we paired it with the right person.
The big thing is the fact that you're both here, and the thing was about the choice, who was going to write it in the first instance, because you weren't the director at first, were you?
No.
So why did you choose Greta Gerwig?
Well, I really wanted to work with Greta. Love her as
Why did you choose me?
Because I love you and you know it. No, I had seen, as soon as I saw Lady Bird, I think I tried to get a meeting with Greta. I really wanted to work with her. I was trying to find a project to do with her. So we met and we talked, and I was prepared to be intimidated by this smart indie director. I'd seen the movies that she's acted in, all very like cool, quirky, highbrow. I just thought, I'm just like, I hope she doesn't think I'm, not cool. But as soon as we spoke, I was like, my God, I feel like we're best friends. She's so warm and inviting and very smart without making you feel stupid, and very funny without making you feel boring, and charming and enthusiastic and all these things that I thought, that's just someone I want to be around. Anyways, other projects didn't work out. She went on, she was prepping Little Women, went on to do that. Another movie that I absolutely adore, just kind of reinforced my belief that she is one of the great directors of our generation.
What is it about her? What is it then about her writing skill that you wanted to bring into Barbie?
I think it's very evident in her work that she can, that she's very, very intelligent. That comes across in her.
I'm so sorry, we're still
No,
talking about
I'm
you.
like,
This is very
oh,
strange.
God.
I apologize. Okay. Just seemed
No, carry on.
No. She's very intelligent. You can feel that in how her scripts and stories and characters are constructed, and how they kind of come at you and it still feels real. It doesn't feel heady, but you can tell there's a lot of thought behind it. And there's a lot of heart, most importantly. And the humor is there, and the humor lands. And that's already that's a hat trick that's hard to pull off already. But for me, she just does that just so exquisitely. And then on top of that, it's constructed in a well-made film. It's just, you can tell that everything had intention behind it. And it's just a real film. It's a real filmmaker making the choices that great filmmakers choose. And I getting to know Greta, know how much she respects and honors the legacy of film that's come before her and filmmaking techniques in particular. But at the same time, you can speak to her for 5 minutes and know that she just has her finger on the pulse of where society is at today. And that's exactly what we needed for Barbie, someone who would be able to honor the legacy and also have a culturally relevant conversation with where we're at today.
Yep.
Love that. I think that's so spot on. Also, I really love that that was so funny that she was talking about Greta in front of Greta, and then Greta just being like it's so cute. But
getting mad props.
Yeah. but I really love that both of them really like are looking at this project as like a very layered opportunity to speak to the experiences of not just all women, but like all men as well, you know, from all the Kens to the one Alan. And by the way, we have to have a whole discussion about Alan.
I would love to.
I love Alan.
Yeah, Alan has become the non-binary spokesperson.
Oh, he
of the film,
He's,
and that is fantastic.
He is you know what's so funny? So my spouse is non-binary, and from the very first day that we dated, I was like, why do they remind me of Michael Cera in like every movie that Michael Cera has ever played? And then when we went to go see Barbie together, Mac turns to me and just goes, "Oh my God, I'm Alan." And I was like, yeah, because you're always Michael Cera. Always.
I also love the line when they're like in the Kendom or whatever, and they're all like, we're gonna give foot massages or whatever, like massages to the Kens. We love that. And Alan's like, no, we don't.
Well, also too, there's Midge. The history of Midge is that she was Barbie's friend who ended up being pregnant and married to Alan.
Right.
She's married to Alan?
Can we?
Yeah.
Wait. For real?
Yes.
Oh.
She got discontinued because her pregnant stomach was
Well, that I knew, and I want
you can detach it and put it in, and so it got removed because a lot of people said it encourages teen pregnancy, and I'm like, where do you think little kids think babies come out?
That's
of?
That's it.
Stomach.
That's the thing.
Really?
Yeah.
It wasn't encouraging any of that crap. You really think we weren't doing 69s?
It was Midge.
The unrealistic part of Barbie was that the Barbies never scissored. I'm just saying.
All right. Well, we
all
can.
did it. We all made it happen.
Like, side note, Emma Mackey, who's known for that show, Sex Education on Netflix, she is another Margot Robbie doppelganger.
Yeah,
but her hair was brown. She's more of a brunette now, and they were gonna have a joke about how they look alike. I'm like, imagine if we had Margot Robbie, Samara Weaving, and Emma Mackey in the same movie. Do you know how many Barbie jokes about them looking alike?
Oh my gosh, no, they are the same person.
Yeah, you gotta say though, the one thing I do actually really appreciate is the fact, as a storytelling element, how unique each character looked. So like the Ken were so easily identifiable as to which Ken it was,
even though they don't look anything like each other, right? Yeah, like absolutely, like they're like they exactly, and like Alan, like. Again, the Michael Cera-ness of it all, I suppose, is the best way to put it. But looks different. And then, so I think we should carve out a little time in the show to talk about not just Weird Barbie, but the whole Weird Barbie extended universe reality show apparently that's going on, because that house is and I was sitting there, I was laughing at the dog and the plastic poop, and Lindsay's like, that's real. I had one. And I was like, "What?"
I've never seen that. Like, I remember as a kid, I saw that at somebody's.
I remember the one with the earring. I remember the one with the earring, and I remember the daddy. And
I had Sugar Daddy.
Yeah,
he's Sugar's daddy.
Sugar's daddy. No, he's Sugar's daddy.
What's interesting about the Skipper one, which I'm amazed.
It's like an Andy joke. Sorry, Andy,
Skipper is technically Barbie's sister, and there was this one doll called Grown Up Skipper that came out in '75, and you just twist her arm back, and then her boobs get big.
Her boobs get bigger.
It was supposed to be like a
it gave me very unrealistic expectations as a child.
So they discontinued. They're like, it's encouraging breasts, and I'm like, what else?
It made for a very confusing puberty. Anyway,
so I didn't have cable TV as a kid. I'm one of those people just I don't watch much TV. No, but I don't have cable TV as a kid. So going to people's houses, right, it was a big deal. And I remember the Barbie with the video and like the TV in the back. Of it.
Yes.
I remember on Nickelodeon they would try to advertise that all the time because they were trying to advertise all this like small camera technology.
You
For,
know
like,
whose dream
kids.
that is? No one's.
Yeah.
No one.
Yeah, like, but like the self-awareness, right? Of like, I have a TV in my back. You know, where it's like, like what? That's freaking crazy. Like who would want that?
Just the way that they talked about Midge, where they're like, we discontinued her. It was weird.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting how those Barbies are different. The ones that are discontinued are different from all the Barbies, the pretty Barbies in Barbie Land.
Well, and they're all in Kate McKinnon's Weird Barbie's house. Like, and again, where's that reality show? Like, I would love to see more of that.
Weird Barbie gets a house for all of her friends, but none of the Kens have houses. Like,
yet she like very clearly very very clearly has a greater understanding of the ways of sexual proclivities than like any Ken.
Yes.
And also, I feel
which I'm into, by the way.
When she's like, I'd love to see that nude blob.
Yeah, no, amazing line.
But
So
children,
funny.
I'm like, you really think that the children don't undress the Barbie?
Of course they do.
It's so funny.
We've got a few people go on record on this
They are
show.
so insane now.
Also, it would not be a Lauren Chouinard guest hosting on Movie Night Extravaganza with me talking about queer stuff.
Yes.
And how queer coded this movie really is, from just the fact that Kate McKinnon is in it to the fact that there's like a whole separate house of like weird Barbies that don't feel like they fit in with all of the other Barbies who are placed with Kens. Like, these are just a bunch of single lady, and they were roommates Barbies, all just hanging out with each other.
Oh yeah,
and
buddies.
Every night's girls' night.
Every night's
and
girls'
Sugar's
night.
and Sugar's daddy.
And Sugar's daddy. Yeah, exactly. No. Hey, yeah.
It's the gay house. It's the
Oh,
gay hype house.
Yeah.
Also, too,
TV
there
Wolf.
was like people kept saying there was almost like a lesbian undertone between like Margot Robbie's Barbie and America Ferrera's character.
I thought that, okay, so from the trailers that I saw, from the moment I heard the Indigo Girls needle drop, and then the heel versus the Birkenstock, and then the gaze between Margot and America, I was like, Barbie's gonna be a lesbian. This is a lesbian movie, and I got really excited. And and it wasn't quite that, but it wasn't quite not that.
Yeah.
Well,
are you shining with a Barbie right now?
It's an infatuation, right? Like it's she looks up to Barbie. That's like, it's almost like that's her muse. And I think that's something that probably, I mean, Greta Gerwig could probably, definitely understand intrinsically, because she's been the muse of like half of the mumblecore quote unquote directors out there.
And I feel like that's just female friendships. And when you look at Greta Gerwig's whole extended thing of there's a thing about
like Frances Ha. I like that they aren't explicitly lovers, right? Like they're just very close, and like they don't have sex, but they have every other thing you would expect to have in a relationship.
Yeah, well, it's a breakup. It's a breakup movie for platonic friends that are platonic.
But you know what? Platonic girlfriend breakups way worse than romantic breakups with men. 100%. And I think that
also, she left over Patchy, by the way. I mean, that's fuck that. Like that guy fucking sucks.
But one of the things that I really appreciate about Greta is the level of intimacy that she really that it just feels so lived in all of her films, that just you believe that these women, it's like, okay, if you want to talk about it as a queer coded thing, sure. But you know what else is queer coded? Female friendships in general. Women do lots of very non-sexual, intimate things with each other all the time. And that's the thing. We all did that with our Barbies. We had an intimate relationship, understanding things about our bodies and our relationships to other women with our dolls. So it's the interpersonal relationships between two speaking living women, and the relationship between women and their possessions that represent womanhood and female friendship, they all just feel really cohesive and lived in, which is something that Greta just does so well through all of her films.
Well, and also
if people want to read it as coded, they can, but it's also just that's just being a woman. That's just the female experience.
No, well said. And in the same way that Martin McDonagh, like, you know, Banshees of Inisherin, it's one of the best movies about male friendship in the past few years.
Bros being bros.
Like, this is
R.I.P. Jenny.
Yeah.
Well, there's
You stand a
also
legend.
Of course.
the relationship between America Ferrera and her daughter too, right? Like,
Oh, yeah, totally.
There's,
She's going
I think
through
there's a very there's these boundaries that get you know, as a young girl becomes like a preteen or like a teenager, that kind of flow into like, you know, someone's your mom but they're your friends and they want to spend more time with you. You're pulling away to spend more time with somebody your own age. That kind of breaks their heart. They understand that, but it's
anything they do is lame. Definitely,
Yeah.
like by like no matter what they're doing.
As a
it's lame.
parent of 2 teenagers, I you know,
I was
totally
gonna
felt that.
say, Andy knows. And that's the thing too that's so interesting is that, so the one thing that I will say about Barbie that I wish could have been improved on is showing more depth into why there is a strain between Sasha and her mom. But then again, I think it's just, the answer is just she's a teenager and she's trying
a
to figure it
teenager
out.
and they live in a world where she, you know, like they clearly don't have a high role in lifestyle.
He's also managed to carve out like a
That husband is pretty much just becoming like bilingual, and that's his entire identity. You know,
yeah.
like that's,
And he also looks like any generic podcaster. Like you can put that guy, like him on a podcast. He's like,
yeah. If it's like an Onion article or something, you'd have that dude.
The Onion article.
But no, I
male
mean,
print.
it also is like, it seems
Local
like,
husband starts podcast.
but there's like
too real.
There's like
I've been doing mine for 10 years, by the way. I did.
She's also it seems
Wait for
like
us, man.
managed to like Sasha's managed to like carve out a space, right, as like the head mean girl at a table,
Right.
full of
And
mean
she
girls.
has an arc. She has
You
an
can't
arc even. Oh, go
Talk
ahead.
to Sasha. Sasha talks to you.
Well, like, and like, so let's go back to Escape from New York, right? You hear all about Snake Plissken for a long time, and you're like, oh, Snake Plissken. Oh, everyone. It's like, why is everyone talking about this? So, like, you get that in like a digest size version of like, it tells you what you need to know about the character without being like, cool, here's 20 minutes that shows like how she came to be who she was. And
You know
this and
who else
that.
had an arc? Noah.
Oh my god.
What's interesting,
But it's awesome because like she actually does have some growth. Like it's sort of like, oh, my mom isn't like literally the worst
she's
person
weird,
in the
just
world.
like me.
Yeah, and
She's weird
then
and dark
then
like
it
me.
the best epiphany though for me is that when she's like, well, you know, you're not being true to yourself, and then like when she starts being true to herself, then she respects that, and like they start engaging in a different way with their relationship, which is like good. If that isn't an allegory for like how folks ought to, you know, react to each other and support
She
each
realizes
other, I
her
don't know what
mom
it
is badass, right? Like her mom is somebody worthy of respect. Her mom is not just this you know, stereotypical kind of you know, I guess kind of neurotic and figure that's constantly reaching out and needing her daughter as a friend and like support unit, as well as like you know, as well as a daughter. Like she realizes that her mother is someone who's had her own life experiences, who's whatever story she had about the guy that she dated or whatever. She's like, yeah.
Oh yeah, that was definitely your father. Yeah, for sure.
It's this moment. I think. I mean, it's a perfect,
Oh yeah.
It's a really good kind of coming of age moment, I think, when she begins to respect her mom, which is something that I think Greta Gerwig does very well. I also think it's kind of fascinating that Greta Gerwig's mom didn't like Barbie, and if you watch Frances Ha when she goes to
Or Lady Bird too, because Lady Bird is like a lot of that is taken from her personal experiences growing up in Sacramento.
Well,
right?
but when she lands in Sacramento in Frances Ha,
it's her actual parents, right?
That's her actual parents that are you get to see a little bit of their life, and her mom's like this. I mean, she calls her like a child of the '60s, but like she doesn't seem like she's full blown hippie dippy, but like she does have that vibe. And so she had a whole back and forth with her mom about, you know, wanting a Barbie. And the mom was like, you know, Barbie is responsible for all the body images. And this is like, you know, we're liberated now. And like, this is a reductive form of, you know, toy. So for this movie to kind of take that and put it on like a macro scale with our world kind of being her mom's world, really, like, you know what I mean? Like her mom's understanding, I guess, of Barbie, but like also putting it into like this I guess more politically correct like Gen Z kind of thing where
Mhm.
it's not like the mom being like Barbies are bad. Like the mom works at Mattel and actually is infatuated with the Barbies
And drawing
She
shots
has-
of death Barbie. Stuff like Barbie.
Which just shout out to whoever did the art on that moment.
I was
because,
gonna
like,
say, as an artist, you can
The dark
appreciate-
outlining of her pink outfit.
the use of like that strong bold, because that's just like done with one line, and I love that stuff. That kind of harkens back also to a bit of the romance comics of the 70s.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah.
Which also borrow a bit from like fashion croquis illustrations, which is the proper term for that.
You know what's interesting is my mom kept because she wants to see it, like when it's gonna be on Max like September 5th. My mom was like, was the camper in the movie? Was the Jeep in the movie? Was this in the movie? I'm like,
It was
the
actually,
Skipper's Treehouse.
they
I'm
were.
like, yes.
Actually,
I'm like,
yeah.
Mom, literally everything that because my
Everything.
sister was the Barbie girl on the block, and even my male cousins would come and play. Their kids, their daughters have all my sister's old Barbies. I'm like, those are going to be our
Yo, get the fuck out of here, Bratz girl. This is the Barbie block.
Yes,
But how great is it that it's in that like that whole like how they get to the real world?
Let's go to. Oh my god, guys!
That sequence, like, how great is it that that's where they put the vehicles in too, right? Where it's like, because it's like it isn't like, okay, here's the scene where they have to, they do this one. No, it's literally like this is how we get to the real world and back, and then like, oh no, you do. And how great is it? Same thing, but in reverse.
Guys, we gotta go to
every
Venice
time.
Beach. That's how we get to Barbie Land. I just remember that they landed. You gotta go with the Venice
So
Beach.
amazing.
Every
So
time,
amazing.
every single time they go through that sequence too, there's this Tame Impala song that they wrote for this
Yes.
that plays.
Oh, I love that song. That's such
I
a
love
good.
when Ken goes back. He's like on the boat and he's like throwing up.
Yeah. Well, like, and he's like,
He's
also
like trying
the-
to ride the bicycle.
it
on
really
the way
takes
out
you
there,
through-
he's trailing, and the spaceship one, he's like hanging on with the astronaut.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
like,
really takes you
Barbie
through what their relationship dynamics are. And this movie
Yeah.
does that really well on multiple occasions, right? Like them on the way there with him kind of just trailing on the back and just kind of unable, like cycling. They're like working in tandem, but like not really. Like it does a really good job showing you the discordant nature of their relationship.
Right.
And then another time when they're in the car and it's when she's like, when you first see the thing, you think it's Sasha's memories or whatever, and then you realize like, no, it's the mother's memories. It takes you through like why their relationship kind of fell apart, and it's literally just normal, daughter pulling away
stuff.
from mother stuff.
yeah, it's there's no great inciting incident. There's no like grand epiphany as to like, well, this horrible thing happened. There's no trauma. It's literally just a mother-daughter relationship.
And there's just generation gaps that are
And
like
there's
that are so
all-
inherent. And the thing
Yes.
that I like about Sasha is her little monologue at the table. Where she
Great
calls her
mother-daughter
fascist.
epiphanies. Exactly.
Yes, true. But when she's sitting at the table and she calls Barbie a fascist and she goes off about like you represent all of this, that's wrong, blah 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 blah. I'm like, oh, that's so Gen Z. Because the thing about Gen Z, they're so smart, but they're not always the most nuanced. Like
No,
no
they're
Gen Zs
not.
come for me in the chat. I have a lot of friends who are Gen Z, and one of the things that I really notice about them is that they are the most intelligent, most like access to information generation, but sometimes they can lack the nuance of like, okay, maybe those things are true, but maybe we also still like things. And that's kind of where her mom's taking from it, and that's where the rift kind of,
They also overuse the term fascist a lot. Like,
Well, absolutely, yeah.
Railways,
like
or the
that's
full
what you
Congress.
fascist.
Yeah. No, that's exactly. That's such a great. Oh, here we go. Yeah. I don't control the railways of focus. Great joke. That's a great
She
joke.
thinks I'm a fascist. I don't control the railways or the flow of commerce.
Yeah. No, it's so good.
Say what you want.
I
about
laughed my
Ken.
ass off.
Say what you want about Ken, but in the Kendom, the trains always ran on time. That's all.
No, like, and
that horsepower.
it's so subtle that like it doesn't feel the need to be like, well, actually, that's a quote that Mussolini. But no, it doesn't. No, you don't need to do any of that. And like it doesn't, and it's there if you're interested
Don't
in
take
it.
it too seriously.
And like it's even and so Kristina, on that point, like the fact that Barbie like knows to say that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how she knows to say that. Who cares? It's a funny line.
It's
Well,
funny.
and also, Barbie.
Why does Groucho Marx say self-aware stuff that acknowledges that the audience exists? Because it's fucking funny. That's
the
why.
Mattel brand comes out of kind of profit seeking, but Ruth Handler and her husband during World War II. Kind of being able to make, like, they were one of the factories that were able to make like the spare parts for all the like for army surplus and stuff like that. And then that's how they ended up going, like she ended up going to Germany and then finding that doll. So it's kind of it's funny that intrinsically, right, like she knows that that's the definition of fascist, because there are also like the German origins of Barbie as like a cultural figure, which like I mean you don't need to know any of that to like get the, but like it's kind of a funny that, like, thinking about that.
Well, and that's something, again, and I've mentioned Eileen Jones' article. I'll actually throw it in the chat so people can check it out on Jacobin, and which the headline
Barbie's
is it's
complicated and controversial history.
No, just that it's kind of amazing.
They made Oreo Barbies, one white and one black.
Yeah, but the original, so the original Barbie, it was yeah. So she talks about this in that article. It's really good. It's a
Can
build.
we talk about when
can I get through this bit? Is that a thing I can do or no? Whatever. I'll put the link in the chat. Find it. It's fine. Go ahead.
Oh, can we talk about how they made a joke about like Ken taking over and it reflects what's happening in the real world, where the Mojo Dojo Casa houses, are selling out. Ken the movie is already a blockbuster hit, yet it hasn't been filmed yet. Ken tattoos, and I'm like, this is what happens when you bring dolls into the real world.
True. Also, someone said something, like someone tweeted that they were like, Mojo Dojo Casa houses exist. It's called Las Vegas. And I was like, it's true. Las Vegas is a giant Mojo Dojo Casa house.
Yes, they want you to stay there in the hotels for as long as possible.
Well, they also reference like Century City throughout the that whole bit. He's like, it's just like Century City in fucking Los Angeles, like
where the CAA headquarters are, where they filmed, which looks like the Death Star. It straight up looks.
It really
like
does. I saw it earlier this month when I was recording. It was like the dichotomy of that and the people like striking too, like was like pretty astounding.
Wild.
But, yeah. No, this is a real good article, and if people listen to this show, I would hope that they read Eileen Jones' column in Jacobin, because even when we don't agree, she's a great read, and she's very very thoughtful. What actually, and honestly, 90% of the time, me and her agree. So there you go. Take it that what you will. But
maybe,
yeah,
it's not so much about Sloppenheimer.
Oppenheimer, we do not agree on, but like, yeah, like I don't want to get into all of it. Like, but like,
that's
for the
most
other
part, episode.
She's a good, exactly. She's a really good canary in the coal mine for me, because she has to do all this stuff for Jacobin. So like, she watched something like, yeah, it's terrible. I'm like, great, I'm gonna skip it.
And she's also a good writer too. So like,
she's great.
You're not missing. You're not wasting time reading her stuff.
Yeah. Again, even if there's few people that like for film criticism that even if I like don't agree with them at all, I enjoy reading what they have.
Like Matthew Film Guy.
I'll always read what he is, and then if it's Letterboxd, I will go at him at the comments like I did with him in The Handmaiden, because he was objectively wrong on that shit.
Yeah,
thank you.
I do think it's interesting though.
I love you, Matthew, but you're wrong.
Yeah, peace and love. On
the Oppenheimer front, somebody must have disagreed with her review enough that they wrote a second one, so there's like a second Oppenheimer Jacobin review.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, and her critique is it's less to do with the movie itself, but like with the great man biopic, which I agree is an overdone, tired concept, and I like it in spite of the great man, and I like it because of we can talk about this in the Oppenheimer episode, but like. I like it because of the physics representation. There's a lot of things that I like about it, but like, I think all our critiques are dead on. And like, there's an issue of films, episode of Film Suck where they go on about it, and it's all, I get it. I still enjoyed it a lot, but like, I get where the bitches are,
What are your favorite like Barbie memes or even Barbenheimer memes?
Oh my God.
I think you're the meme expert in this.
One is where the one poster,
the meme smith, if you will,
Barbie on his shoulder, and she's like, they made one of Cillian Murphy holding Margot Robbie up like on his shoulder, and I'm like, that is a perfect representation of this phenomenon. And there's a lot of artwork, a lot of people. I feel like they're really trying to push the Saw Patrol on us, but I'm like, no, that's not. That's a
nobody's looking for that. No one is looking for that. There we go. That's what I was going to say.
This Barbie is a meme goddess. Real.
That's you, Kristina.
It's also funny that
that's fine.
like-
People didn't come here to read for us. We can take this off the screen.
All right.
It's a good article. Trust me.
I ain't come here to read.
I ain't come here to read.
Oh,
here for the articles,
but you caught me
really,
reading
so.
though.
It's fascinating though. Like a couple weeks before this phenomenon kind of hit us like a fucking meteor, right? The new Mission Impossible came out, and like,
oh, did it? I didn't notice.
By all,
a week before.
But by all like Rotten Tomatoes or whatever. Like I haven't seen it, but it has like.
Can I tell you? I've never seen any of those movies.
Yeah.
Me too.
Well,
I don't
should
watch
I?
these movies.
I don't know.
I've seen all of them, but I couldn't tell you what any of them are about.
See, that's what I feel. I feel like it's Velveeta, right? Like you're gonna forget about it the second you're done watching it.
It's
I
like
thought it was
it's
pretty
funny
cool
though,
how Tom Cruise went off a ramp and like skydived off of a mountain, and I was like, "Oh, okay, he did that." And then
But if I want to see old dudes doing dangerous stunts, I'll watch Jackass.
It's Tom Cruise trying to do a suicide attempt on film. Is really what it is.
I always
turned
felt
into
like
a James Bond film.
Yeah, I always felt like it's just that America couldn't accept that we had like James Bond was British, so we like had to make our own like American James Bond spinoff.
Which pisses me off because I like the original Mission Impossible, and I like the fact that it was a team, not an individual, but a team,
a TV show.
You know, working together to do it, and they've completely taken that away, and the team just is absolutely superfluous. Like their teamwork is like, oh look, I brought a briefcase. Oh,
Is it
I couldn't even tell you
is it
what Tom
superfluous
Cruise's
like
name is. I've seen all of the movies. I don't know his name.
Well, that's it, but it doesn't matter, right? So this is why I never watched literally even one of these movies because that's what I expected it to be, and I hate to be cynical about this, but it sounds like that's what it is.
Tom Cruise was mad though. He's like, my film is gonna be released the week before Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
But also Tom Cruise is someone
Nolan.
who is like, if anyone's going to the cinema, I call it a win, which I do appreciate from him. I mean, like Scientology aside, he really does want to keep the cinema alive.
Yes.
And I think that he is a really big advocate.
Sure.
Yeah.
Really mad that
The
Mission
2023
Impossible
go to
did
the
that.
cinema cheerleader Tom Cruise is certainly my favorite of his arc. But
yeah,
Much better than the yelling at everyone or the jumping on couches or the.
And like, I know we agreed not to discuss this during Oscar season. I watched Maverick. It was fine. The planes went zoom.
It's fine.
You know, whatever.
It's fine.
It has no business whatsoever being Best Picture nominated.
Which
None.
is why a lot of people are predicting that Barbie will be nominated for Best Picture because it's a blockbuster. I'm like, so was Top Gun Maverick and Avatar.
They're doing blockbusters all the
They're doing
time
it
now. They
now.
almost had their own category for popular film. They want to shoehorn it in. They
Tried to make the movie about Blockbuster a blockbuster. Didn't work.
Wait, really?
Well, so what I was trying to say is like it's funny. It's really funny to me that
Ended up being a streaming series. That's not good, apparently.
Christopher Nolan at first was kind of pissed off because I guess the BarbenHeimer thing was kind of a dig at him because he was having problems with Warner Brothers on like a contract that had whatever. So he was kind of pissed off that they decided that Barbie should be released the same day as Oppenheimer, like to fuck with him, I guess. I mean, it helped both movies out.
Look.
Yes. Yeah.
I say this with.
So can I? So
yeah, go ahead.
It's funny to me though that the other movie that came out a week before, like Mission Impossible, right? Like it's getting like these stellar reviews of like all this stuff that is like that they're like, you know, this franchise should continue. Like this is like breathes new
People
fresh
seem
air
to
into
really
it.
like it. Yeah,
or like but then nobody paid attention to it because it was fucking crushed within a week under the weight of BarbenHeimer.
It got beat out by Sound of Freedom.
I want to get away from that topic immediately, so I just say
talk
that
about Sound of Freedom at all.
Chris Nolan, and I say this
they're
with
breaking all the air conditioners in the movie theaters. They don't want you to see it.
Chris Nolan. I say this with peace and love in my heart. Needs to lighten the fuck up.
I think Cillian Murphy and
like
the cast
he's
of
awesome.
Oppenheimer-
I like the movie, but like look at Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig like buying tickets for Oppenheimer and like like getting into the spirit of like, hey, we're getting excited about movies and that can't be
Cillian
bad.
Murphy was like, I'm gonna see Barbie 100%. I can't wait to see it. And I'm like, see, Christopher Nolan, like your cast is like ready to do the BarbenHeimer thing.
He's so super serious about everything and always has been. And
Yeah.
so I expect nothing less from him to be that way. This is the man who has his own private movie theater at IMAX to show his movies. Like he's
To be fair, that sounds super sick.
no, it's I've been in it. My friend used to work for IMAX and I've been inside of it, and I watched Dark Knight on Christopher Nolan's copy at his private theater at IMAX headquarters.
I'm never gonna get invited to do that because I'm talking trash.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was
Talking
like,
that
oh,
trash.
no one sees this. But it was such an amazing, like, I mean, Oppenheimer was such an amazing feat, and of course he's like very proud of it, and he would take it very seriously. He takes everything super seriously. He does need to lighten up.
Yes.
Because the thing
Have
is
fun.
that what made Barbie so successful and so great is that it wasn't like a big old prestige thing. It was just like
camp.
It's just like, come on, wear some pink, show up in line, say hi Barbie to every girl that's up. It was the closest we've had to
Oh, I
world
did that every
peace in
time.
ages. It's
The
just
closer
and
you
that's-
got
that's
to
what's-
the
that's what's so-
catcalling being okay again. Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
Well, and that's and people were doing it in the chat. That's great.
Oh my
That's
gosh,
awesome.
wait,
You know.
Can I tell you something really embarrassing that happened to me? So
Uh-oh.
for the whole like couple days leading up to Barbie, you know, everyone's walking around wearing like the pink and the merch or whatever. So you see a girl and you're like, oh my God, hi Barbie. And then they usually are just like, thank you. And it was so cute. And I did that like all weekend. But then I did it to a group of these two teenagers, like literally like 14-year-olds, and like who were passing by me, and I liked their fit. So I was just like, oh my God, hi Barbie. And they laughed at me, not with me. They were literally like, and I was like, okay, well, I want to kill myself.
Right, yeah.
But that
Talk
was
about
the
not
thing.
getting the spirit of the movie.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
the thing, is that they
Or
were going
maybe they
into
did get the
Barbie,
spirit
and I
of the
was
movie.
like, those
That's
women
some
will be
Sasha
different when
shit.
they leave the theater, and they will say hi Barbie to me.
That's
And
a good
they will
point. Yeah, yeah,
recognize what I'm all about.
Yeah, I mean, look, if they had turned around, laughed at her, and then called her a fascist, it would have been even more in the spirit.
Yeah,
They should
exactly,
have. I would have enjoyed that too.
Can we talk about the fact, like with the brainwashing of the Barbies and the submissive, misogynistic, what they're all about now that the Kens brainwashed them? I like the idea that Barbie did not, stereotypical, like Margot's Barbie did not get brainwashed, and she's like, well, because my exposure to the real world made me immune to it. And I'm like, there you have it. That's why Barbies and Kens and any dolls can. I love that they also talked about Skipper. We had an incident with
the Skipper
with-
incident, as they talk about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they also wrote it.
Which I would
during-
watch the Skipper incident. That sounds like some Andy shit for sure.
Yeah.
But I would watch the Skipper incident.
They wrote the script during the COVID pandemic.
Yeah.
So for the layer underneath it, right, to be patriarchy is almost this virus that
Yes.
it infects them
Yes.
because they have no natural
They
immune
made a
system.
smallpox comment too.
That is a really good point. I never thought of that
Yeah.
before. That's amazing.
So I mean, I kind of just thought of that as you guys were saying. Oh,
No,
so this
it's
is so this is them continuing this interview. I wanted to get to.
Oh,
this
this is the
forward.
same one from Okay, awesome. Cool.
Mhm.
Yeah. So this is them talking about, and I'll probably stop before. I mean, I cut like a 6-minute thing, so I'll probably stop before that.
That's
but
fine.
this is them talking about.
I feel like we could do this. We could talk about this movie for 3 hours and still not get to all of it personally. I don't know. But I've also seen it twice.
We should probably
now,
also cut the stream in half and then do half of it in the after party and half of it.
True.
Our discourse in the main show.
We'll save all Skipper incident discussion for the after party.
Call the after party the Skipper incident.
Discredit what they were worried about. It was just that it's like, okay, we need to hear you out. We understand that now. Let's keep moving forward with prepping this film whilst also talking about the thing that's scary. But at the same time, we have to keep prepping this film. And then everyone eventually gets a little, desensitized to all those scary things. And
also, I think the thing that we knew that was also at the core of it was not just vis-a-vis of the brand but just the story and the characters was that I knew and Margot knew and all the actors knew that what we wanted at the center of it was just a really big heart, and that part of it was so important for me, that however anarchic or crazy or throwing elbows the movie was, that the thing that you walk away with was this feeling of this heart in the middle of it. And I was like, well, I'm not lying to them. That's true.
Yeah.
And so that I can tell, I can look them in the eye and say, you might not love this or that, but I'm telling you, like, this movie has only love for people. Because it did.
And that's another hard thing. I think when you read something in text form, it's easier to assume the worst version of that. It's like if you read a text and someone didn't put any emojis in it, you're like, are they mad at me? I don't know. And like, if I got to voice note that to you, you could hear my voice and I'm saying it like I'm happy,
like this.
But like sometimes when you're reading a script, I think it's easy to be like, oh, this is all very, but we were like, none of this is going to feel mean-spirited. Like we are poking fun at ourselves. Like Mattel's a character and Mattel's going to poke fun at itself. Like we're going to be self-aware, and that is the access point. But when we deliver that, it is going to be delivered from a place of love, and the overall feeling is to kind of deliver an uplifting experience.
So it's interesting that in the little that was able to be understood about the film in advance. Clearly, Mattel still talk about it in slightly different terms to you two, but somehow they don't like to call it a feminist film. The actors seem very comfortable with talking about it as a feminist film.
Yeah.
But somehow it doesn't matter that you talk about it differently.
Yeah. I mean, well, it most certainly is a feminist film. And I think that the sort of,
can you explain that? Why? How so?
To me, it's like that's like one slice of the pie. Like it's
pretty big.
It's a big slice, but like I don't know. I also wouldn't call it a funny film because then that discredits the fact that it's got a lot of heart and it's got a lot of emotion and it's got a lot of like movie references, all this kind of stuff. I'm like, it is funny. That is a huge part of it. It's a comedy,
right?
But if you just call it a funny film, you almost make it sound like it doesn't have a lot going on, and it does.
Well, I mean, like this is sort of when we talk about this stuff, it almost sounds silly because you start talking about Barbie and Ken and then you're having very serious discussions about Barbie and Ken, but it's like, I mean, I think to whatever that sort of like, it's also a humanist film because it's like the humanity insofar as you can call it of like Barbie and Ken is what's paramount in the film. And at the beginning of the movie, Ken is a person with no status in this world. So in this kind of reversed world, that person who has no status is in a completely untenable place long term.
Quite a brave decision too, to give Ken such a big character in the end, to take him away from being the cipher that he's always been into a real thing.
Right, which is, but that in that way, it's giving him humanity, as it were, as a doll, as whatever these kind of knots on knots that we have of the world of Barbie. But yeah, I mean, I also think I will say just the existence of this film in the way that it does is pretty incredible and is pretty, I mean, like when I think of it, this sort of as it stands, I'm like, this is amazing that this movie is made, and it's made the way it is with Margot as a producer and a star, and what the story is of the movie. It feels sort of unbelievable that it's been made, but I think it's feminist in a way that includes everyone. It's like it's a rising tide lifts all boats version of it.
Yeah, I think some people hear the word feminism means that doesn't mean men. And I'm like, well,
yeah, no, it does mean men.
Anyone who believes men and women should be equal is feminist.
It's that simple.
But I think some people hear the word feminist and like associate a lot of negative baggage with the word.
So what is it for you in the film? If you think, if you guys are comfortable, there I go, look at me, if the actors, if all the people on set are comfortable, they get that the word belongs to the film. How so?
I think it belongs to the film because I think it's, because when we were making it, the whole, Barbie is like an icon that, as Margot was speaking to, that it's both, she exists in the both and, not the either or. She's not either good or bad, or is that diving into the complexity of it and not running away from it, but like looking at all the thorniness and stepping into it, and also looking at all the thorniness and stepping into what is the negotiation of what women need to be, and how to give them something other than a tightrope to walk on is how it feels feminist to me.
I actually, when I got asked the other day, like, is Barbie a feminist? I was like, well, she's actually like the level up from that, because if you look at Barbie Land at the beginning, like the Barbies are on top and the Kens are kind of disregarded. So I was like, well, that's not equal.
Well, yeah, and that goes back to the earlier thing, right, about the Skipper incident. God damn it. The subplot of being like, forms of government that are basically oppressive and not inclusive, just being replaced by each other. And that, like, that's the B plot.
That's the B plot.
Which is wild for a movie about a doll.
There still needs to be justice for Alan, though.
Justice for Alan.
He can beat the crap out of people, though. Like, good for him.
Dude, I have not been that excited for a fight scene since I saw Nobody, frankly, where I was like, hell yeah, get some.
Buddy.
Get
and his
some,
clothes
Alan.
fit me too. Bam! Like, everyone's like, why does he say that? I'm like, because that was the whole point of Alan. He was Ken's best friend, and his clothes fit him too.
It's the same level of catharsis of seeing Bob Odenkirk just like run wild on some like total jackasses on the bus, and like it's like righteous fury. It's like Alan got his moment, and then he had to go immediately back to Barbie Land.
Yeah,
I know.
Because he's doomed. He's a doomed character.
I
He's
love the first thing for the other Barbies when they try to get the Barbies away from their Kens.
Yeah,
it was cute.
Yeah.
We'll
So
try
one
to
of
go over
my,
the-
one
go
of my
over the
favorite
thing.
things about Alan is that he was just like, so Alan is just rejecting all of it. And
Right.
I was talking to a friend about this the other day about how in today's society, if you actually want to really move the needle toward actual equality, it's not enough to be an ally. You have to be a gender traitor. And I was like, but gender traitor is so, I don't know. It's just
I
very
think I played with
violent.
him in Gilman in
Yeah.
2002,
So I was
by
like,
the way.
I was like, we're
gender
not
traitor.
going to convince anyone to help us achieve equality by calling them a gender traitor.
Yeah.
But now we have a term for it, and it's called Alan.
Yes.
Be an Alan. Just be an Alan.
It's a far better term.
Be an
I
Alan.
love how he's like, and Alan. And everyone's like, ugh, whatever. Poor guy. Now, what do we think of America Ferrera's monologue? That kind of gets, them out.
You know, go
yeah.
ahead.
Oh, here we go.
A dude doesn't need to be the first one to chime in on that. Go ahead, Lauren.
So my idea, first off, like everything that she said, true.
Yeah.
Definitely
Yes.
true. You know who actually monologues that better? Greta Gerwig in Little Women during
Yeah.
that scene with Florence Pugh.
You're
where she
right.
talks
You're
about the
100%
double
right.
Standards
I love Florence
of women
Pugh.
versus men. So as I was like listening to that monologue, and maybe it's because I have a women's studies degree, and I've kind of like, and I've reiterated these points because smarter people than me kind of pointed that out to me when I was in like the beginning stages of my feminist journey. Like that monologue is what I got in Feminism 101,
Yes,
and
we do.
So we do stand a non-binary king. Hell yeah. But yeah, in my like feminism like 101 classes, like that's kind of the first thing that we talk about. I feel that in Little Women, and that's a whole other episode, there is just a
Coming
lot
soon.
more like finesse
Coming soon,
to
yeah.
that conversation. Whereas this one was like very straightforward. But for a large blockbuster movie, maybe that's just how it was supposed to be for people who are hearing it for the very first time.
So what's awesome is that those are very similar points that I was going to make. Because I think that as much as like I hear some people, some backlash to it, like, oh, this is like some I'm with her like Clinton campaign 2016 like level of engagement.
Si se puedes.
Right.
He's a winning.
And
That was a
okay,
direct callback to what was the movie? Oh my gosh, it was on Disney Channel. America Ferrera was in it.
Yeah.
Oh, I just assumed it was.
Go all
I
in
just
or
assumed it
something
was
like that.
I just assumed it was a throwback to the Obama campaign.
yeah, me too. But I think that
yes, we
like
can.
it was a throwback to the Pete Buttigieg campaign. Actually, too soon.
Oh my
Too
God.
soon.
That's never too soon.
So what I was gonna say is that like I think that like I saw the backlash to that, and I get it because it does have like big still with her energy for sure. But like think about the audience for this, right? Like remember talked about like the needle drops on this are not for me, right? Of course they're not for me. If you were to make a movie that was like designed for Conan Neutron, a 45-year-old like lifelong rock and roll person. it wouldn't be these things. But that's not the point. The point is to get this to like the global audience, including non-English speaking audience that maybe never gets to hear those kinds of things ever at any time.
True.
And like for people to assume it's like, well, I've heard that, so like I'm annoyed by hearing it because it's been co-opted by this thing I don't like. It is not about you.
Mm-hmm.
There's also been a lot of stuff grappling with like the binary, I guess, that women have to be, right? Like it's always kind of juxtaposed against each other, either being a stay-at-home mom or being a mom. Or
I wasn't laughing at that, Forrest. I was laughing at BarbenHeimer.
Not BarbenHeimer.
I have to stop looking at the chat when people are doing serious points.
We're on tracks. Let's go.
We have too many funny commenters. Yeah.
In the same way that I think Barbie kind of has.
Diva, destroyer of the world.
I am
classic after party material. Forrest, please. Yeah.
I am become deaf. No, but there's like this binary, right, where women are either seen as like a career woman, which is such a fucking 60s 70s term. Women like have like entering the workforce, and the propaganda kind of around that with like all of a sudden you can't really afford to be somebody like living on your own or living with one income in a household, right? Like all these things are connected to the actual economic status that we live under, and then the role of women, like the trad role, I guess, as like a mother, and these things have always been juxtaposed against each other kind of as a clash, and they're not really. Like most women,
they should be able to exist at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And of course they should, but by the same token, how many times do we even get to see these kinds of stories? And again, like, and I've heard critiques of Barbie that
I feel like grappling with that binary in this movie is similar to the grappling with Barbie as kind of early feminist kind of character, I guess, right? And also as problematic, like in all these terms, right? Like women are just not allowed to exist. It either has to be this or that, right? Like it has to be either Barbie is like an icon of positivity, Barbie is something negative that brings self-esteem issues,
right?
And it was based off of a German sex doll and all this, like a litany of problematic things. And in the same way, I think America Ferrera is talking about how you can't really just exist. You can't just be like a person. You have to always be exceptional. You have to always, and of course, since she's like, a woman,
be humble, but be like the whole like dichotomy of all, and like
be confident.
It's rarely. So you rarely see it in a film this big. You rarely see a message like that portrayed so succinctly, and so like I mean, like the beats of it would be like. It would work fine in like Patton or like Avengers Endgame or something, where it's like, it's just, but it's perfectly executed and done so in like, you stop and think about like, what are the stakes here? It's like, well, okay, Barbie Land's all jacked up, I guess. But like what she's saying is a universal truth. And again, for people that like that complain about it, it's like, well, no, it's talking about the same contradictions that are inherent within the entire film. Like the whole like, no, it's these superficial beauty standards that can't be lived up to, and yada yada. But both of these things can be true at the same time, and like what you choose to emphasize does matter, and that even acknowledgement of the fact that these contradictions and absolute like logical fallacies can exist. It's powerful to have that expressed in a major movie blockbuster. It's one of the biggest movies of the year.
And bringing that out onto like an even more macro level, right? Like that exact same point with these contradictions. Looking at this movie as something subversive, as something personal, as something humanistic, right? Like that is trying to spread a message to its audience, as well as, I mean, of course, Mattel turns around and markets every massive merchandising and marketing consumerist push behind it, and there is an understanding and like a nuance to the fact that like yes, it can both be Greta Gerwig's very subversive and not like it's not hitting an exact point the way that I think a lot of its critics have said that it is, right? Like
most of the critics it seems like they're talking about a much different movie than what it actually is.
And so for it to exist both as something subversive, something culturally nuanced, right? At a time when, as the fucking things show, like the reactions to it show, we are in the probably least nuanced moment in time that we've ever been in, right? Like culturally. So everybody can just kind of rage porn out to anything that comes out, right? That hates a certain political thing, right? Like just the term like woke. Like I fucking like anytime I see woke in a movie criticism, I'm like, that's not telling me anything about this.
You don't need to read the rest of the thing or like listen to the rest of it because it's just like, well, that means things that I don't like and I'm an asshole is what that means.
It's just button mashing on buzzwords.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing. Oh, it's socialism. Is it really? How is it socialism? Well, I don't like it. But it's not just a Mattel ad. Too.
Or like those are two things that you can hold in your mind at the same time, right? Like the dialectic of it. Like this is
like the meta commentary, like you talked about, Forrest, about like the having the Mojo Dojo Casa houses. Oh, we can't keep them on the shelves. They're selling so well. Like that meta commentary within the movie of it being like, well, this is patriarchy coming to Barbie Land, which is nuts, right? Like, and it can be the same. And that's one of the reasons why this is such a flashpoint event that could never be repeated. This can never be repeated because, like, you could try to do something similar-ish. But like the subversiveness, and I think again, you hit on a great point. The humanistic elements of it, like. It's just gonna come off like a cover band, man.
They're gonna try with Polly Pocket, and it's gonna suck.
It's Lena Dunham. Of course, it's gonna suck.
Not for me to say, but I agree.
But
yeah, I mean, knowing what Lena Dunham did to her sister as a kid, I don't want to know anything else about her.
No, I want to know nothing of that.
No, but so like at the same time, the meta commentary, right? Like, that kind of joke works well in certain. Well, he's dropped. It's a gay bomb, baby. You know what I mean? But
bombs everywhere.
It's not just the frogs that are gay now. Thank you.
That's what tap water is. It's a gay bomb, baby. No, but like, I'm like missing the point that I was going.
Yeah, sorry. I gotta stop bringing up funny shit when you're trying to make a point. But I do the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I was going somewhere. The meta commentary of it. The last time I think that worked as well as it does here is like Spaceballs. Like with when he comes out as yogurt, and he's like,
I get it.
The tiny doll of him. Like that's the last time I think that kind of meta commentary joke kind of worked as well as it does here.
Yeah, agreed. And again, I don't think it can. I don't know if it could be done again in the same way. It certainly can't be done the same way. I'm not saying it can't be done again. I should be
not to this scale, and not in this way where we used the master's tools to dismantle the house by shipping out a bunch of pink things and then making people go see a movie that kind of breaks down the problematic elements of consumerism while also making people buy. And I did it. I bought the Barbie merch.
Right. And it's a cultural flashpoint too.
Yeah,
that has
sold out now.
It's a functional equivalent of going up to Oppenheimer and says, "Kid and loser, we're changing culture."
I flew down to Los Angeles to go to the World of Barbie pop-up because I wanted to just see that
atom
world.
bombs are flying off the shelf.
Every time I went to see Barbie, I dressed up in the cowgirl cosplay.
By the way, my version of
the body horror nobody asked for and nobody is ready for.
My version of BarbenHeimer is he's building the world's largest drone, and he's building it in like a Los Alamos type facility. He's like, we got to make this drone the biggest anyone's ever seen.
Actually, in all wars. This is classic after party material, by the way, which I think we're actually doing tonight. We're doing after party tonight?
Yeah, we're doing an after party. And I showed you guys the thumbnail. The thumbnail is me and Kristina.
Of course. Yeah, I said it like 7 times. And I was like, all right, are Andy and I Alan? What the fuck?
We're Alan.
One thing that we haven't really mentioned, though, is
we have a different car.
Handler. Well, the ghost of Ruth Handler in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, Rhea Perlman.
Yeah.
Fuck
Rhea
yeah.
Perlman,
Carla from
man.
Tears.
Every time she shows up, I'm stoked.
Yeah.
Constantly.
I'm like, oh god, here come the tears.
But I really appreciated how they made her a sweet old lady that was delivering deep truths while also being like, and also tax evasion.
Well, but that's a different movie.
That is she cultivated, I think, this image as like this very petite, older, like very cute grandma lady, but also had incredible problems with the SEC.
Yes.
To the point where her like I guess financial woes and embezzling or whatever fucking got her removed from the head of Mattel. But she survived that and kept being like cute Barbie grandma. And
they should make that movie, and Rhea Perlman should play the same character.
I agree. Oh my god.
Yeah,
greenlit. Uncle Alligator says I'm all right with it. Greenlit. We begin shooting on Monday.
But they also had her. I mean, I don't know if it was a setup. I didn't look into it that much. But her husband was like the one who originally started the company, right? Like Mattel is like her husband's name and the guy that the partner's name pushed together. That's like how they started out this company. So I wonder how much of the fucking financial embezzlement. No, I wonder like
or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever.
Financial crimes and stuff.
Whatever.
Like I wonder how much of it was her kind of being put front and center for that reason, though. I mean,
I think some of it too is sexism because I think he passed away, and if I remember the story correctly, they kind of put it on her.
They Martha Stewarted her. That's what they did.
Yeah. Also,
so she hooked up with Snoop Dogg. Sorry, too soon.
So her singular son is Ken.
For shizzle, thank you.
Yeah,
like her kids were Barbara and Ken. But I want to know what it was like to be in the world as the actual real life Ken. Like
probably not great.
Well, Barbie's real name is Barbara Millicent Roberts, which I was like, why didn't she go by Roberts but Handler? I'm like, Barbara Roberts is actually Barbie's name in real life. So like, they called her Barbara Handler, not Barbara Millicent Roberts, and I'm like, that's the only like mistake in the movie that bugged me.
Yo, Millicent is a wild old school middle name.
We need to bring back Millicent. We have to bring back Millicent.
Yeah,
a Zoomer Millicent. Yeah, gets it on for sure.
I just think it's weird that people are like, this movie's not for kids. There's so much inappropriate nonsense in this. I'm like, there's no cuss words like penis and vagina are mentioned. Like,
they say beach off.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna beach off later, but that's another story.
So like, it's the children saying beach off. No, you beach me off. No, you beach.
I thought Andy wrote that joke actually, but
Kenneth Handler.
Well, they took my fashion sense.
Was a screenwriter and director who actually directed like a bunch of movies. He directed Delivery Boys, A Place Without Parents. I haven't seen either of those, but like he was
I don't know what any of that is, but okay. But it's greenlit anyway. We're going wild tonight.
Oh, for Ken, anything.
It's for Ken. It's greenlit. It's gonna be a wild picture.
It's already a blockbuster success.
Exactly.
I'm surprised they didn't make a Superman joke. Like Ryan Gosling's up for the part of Ken. Like,
right? Oh yeah, like Superman. They didn't need to do that though. And which is crazy because as meta aware as this film is, like. There's a few ways it could have like gone down like the wrong path with that, and I was first time I saw it, I hate to say it, I was honestly expecting it was going to, and then it didn't, and I was like, oh okay, no,
the thing is that they didn't go for the obvious like cultural like relevant jokes.
Right,
they were trying to stick more to like stuff that's universal. So this movie's gonna last. I'm giving the opposite prediction than Ben Shapiro, who said that like box office is gonna drop off after a week, which is what he said in his review.
Nobody cares for that.
This is gonna last.
It worked. Okay?
This movie is gonna be around.
He's just mad that he's right wing. He's right wing Allen.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares what that guy has to say. Like outside of a small world, and
the whole point
he will die alone.
This movie's going to stick around, and it's going to be like my children aren't going to have kids. They don't want any kids, but like my imaginary grandchildren would actually talk about it.
So what I like though is the quips in this, even the topical ones like the Zack Snyder quip, the Stephen Malkmus and the Fall quip of like because there's movie splaining that's happens. There's record but there's indie rock like mansplaining as well, which is like I did not expect to hear a Fall reference in the Barbie movie.
I have all my money in a savings account.
There's also
Photoshop, financial bro. Yeah, they cover all the bros.
Photoshop mansplaining, which is really funny as somebody who grew up with like my mom taught Photoshop when I was a kid. Like that's what she did for a living. So
yeah,
it
and
was
how
really
many
funny
students, how many of the male students were trying to explain to her how it worked?
Probably all. But he's talking about like the lasso. He's like, the lasso tool. No, you have to highlight it with. It's not even like expert level Photoshop, right? Like it's just.
It's just like the most basics.
Yeah, she doesn't understand how the select tool works, which is hilarious.
But it's like it's so aware of like the concept of what it is, which is that like, okay, they're using like their mansplaining against them, right? They're using that as like no, that's how we're gonna get them, and it's done like in the purpose of like a caper. Honestly, like right, like it's caper like.
It was so Ocean's 11 of them. The whole
Totally.
scene.
It's what Mission Impossible should be.
No,
Right.
literally though.
It's also such a relatable thing. Like
I'd watch it then.
They
Yeah.
start getting text messages in the middle of it, and they're like, "What's that?" And like while he's trying to play guitar, and he's like, "Oh, don't worry about it." And then he like looks at the phone. He's like, "No, who? Ken?" And then they start rotating.
But they're in a circle. They're all, including the mermaid and the merman, which is an extreme callback for
Barbie.
And John Cena, shout out, to Margot Robbie's co-star from Suicide Squad.
Who's incredible in Peacemaker, which is absolutely
I love it.
wonderful.
Yo,
But
so
it's
there
just
were
so
people
funny
that were
Dua
also.
Lipa played like 3 of the mermaid Barbies.
Yeah, that's right. They just duplicated
Bye, Barbie. Good luck in reality.
Oh yeah. That's right. I forgot about that.
How did she get the
funniest,
pool?
The funniest, most esoteric reason that people got mad at Barbie is that the map that they were showing in the scene with Weird Barbie, I guess it shows the boundaries that China rather than Vietnam accepts for like the boundary dispute between the two countries.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, and then they pissed off Vietnam, and Vietnam was like, "I won't show
Vietnam
it."
But also like you had like Ted Cruz come out and be like, this movie is pro-China, it's communist propaganda. And it's really funny if you remember like John Cena apologizing for some like really milquetoast comment he made about something happening in China, and he like apologized in Chinese to
Oh yeah.
So
He seemed
to be like fucking CCP agent fucking John Cena strikes again. He's the one that he's like, oh, just use this map here.
He seems like a genuinely pretty cool dude.
I've heard
he's
he's great to
very,
work
very
with.
progressive.
And like considering what he like did in Peacemaker too, which is again a very meta aware even more than the Suicide Squad. Like I'm like I would be very bummed out if I found out he was like a shitheel for some reason.
I've heard he's amazing to work with. And I love when he shows up in anything, because it just seems like he's so down to just continue being a camp icon.
Yeah,
he's happy to be there. He's like the Bruce Campbell of wrestling, you know.
That's why he did. Like he was like, it was Margot who was like, "Do you want to play like a merkin in the Barbie movie?" He was like,
"Yes."
Sure.
What time should I be there? Yeah,
I love
exactly.
Like, "Hi, Barbie."
He does need somebody to Barbie explain him like basic class consciousness though, because he has Vince McMahon owns 10% of whatever he's like his product or whatever. He needs somebody to like whisper to him like, hey, your boss doesn't have to own like 10% of everything you make of your merchandising rights, bro. Because there's like this video of him being like, oh, I'm happy with it. He gave me my first shot, and it's like, no, John Cena, rise up. Rise up! The world, John Cena.
So funny.
Anyway, so of course, everybody, we do like to have fun here, and of course, Letterboxd is a great place where everyone can have fun that enjoys film. It's a social media site. Even Ken's. They allow Ken's on there.
Even Alan.
You can like a movie, give it a number. It's great. And of course, Letterboxd is a place for film lovers to talk at with and to each other about the films that they love, the films that they were baffled by, the films they were weirdly horny for. All of these things can be held in the same sentence, and often are. And
I think in this case is somewhat understandable.
It's absolutely. It's absolutely. And of course, all of this is best expressed succinctly for the purposes of this bit where we collect everything, because it isn't just a Siskel and Ebert to get to have a say. Everyone gets to have their say. Everyone gets to opine. Everyone gets to chime in, but not everyone makes the cut. These are the Letterboxd one-liners.
I like how
Barbie.
you went Uncle Alligator there for 1 second.
I am a proud owner of the discontinued pooping dog.
Oh, me too.
I remember seeing that at someone's house when I was a kid. Like, they had that.
So
like,
is Lindsay.
This is
I saw with Lindsay for the second time, and she's like, "I had one of those." I'm like, "That's a thing?" Like, I didn't even know that was real. Like, I didn't know what.
Everything in Barbie Land was a thing.
Amazing.
Everything.
I wanna poop on your rug. Yes, I will. Yes, I will.
Chills shot through my spine during the scene where Ken is mansplaining pavement, slanted and enchanted, and Stephen Malkmus impact and indie music, because I know that's the exact kind of Ken I would be.
See, that's how I felt about when he's mansplaining The Godfather, and he's like, Coppola really shows the aesthetic like interpretation here, and I'm like, and I turned because I saw it with my friend Maddie, and I turned to her and I was like, that's me. I'm that.
Because they film broed, they indie rock broed, they finance broed. Like it fucking touches them all, man.
They
it's great.
graphic designer broed.
Yeah. They did it all.
Very, very basic graphic designer broed.
It's the Bo Jackson of meta references. Thank you. Girlfriends with guitar boyfriends are accurately represented in this one.
True.
I'm gonna play guitar at you.
I play guitar at you. At you.
I need to be explicitly clear. I have never done this, and I find that abhorrent.
Thank God.
But
yeah, I've never offered to shake her egg at a woman before. What's funny is I'm holding up a shaker egg, but you can't see it right now.
Yo, one of the things also though, I like that even in the Kens or whatever, there's like a hierarchy where there's the one sidekick Ken that's always his sidekick, which Alan's supposed to be a sidekick. I guess Alan had the week off, but there's the one Ken with like the straw hat that's always the sidekick, and he's playing the drums at her.
No, that's what I was saying. That's what I said earlier. That what I love so much about that scene is that there's the dude playing drums unaccompanied, because it's all dudes with guitars, and the first thing anyone that plays music, oh, well, there's no one to play drums though, and it's like, and then there's a dude playing drums and singing, and he's the singing drummer, and it's amazing, and I love it.
He's the one sidekick though too. You know what I mean? Like it's the one. Like there's always this like one.
You are.
It's so great. People cheered at the Pride and Prejudice moment like it was Captain America catching Thor's hammer in Endgame.
It was so relatable.
Yes.
I literally out loud, and everyone laughed at me, but it's fine. I was like, as soon as they said it, I just went, ah!
I feel so called out right now.
Like that.
And the fact that it was the Colin Firth Pride and Prejudice means something too, which is great. Because
specifically the
I had to ask my wife, I'm like, is that Colin Firth?
But I mean, that's like also perfect, like meta commentary. The second there's like a new Barbie that she comes up with conceptually in her head, that's like the most depressing one. Oh, there's an ad for it. You know what I mean? Like right on the screen in the middle of.
So good, so good.
And I'm glad they did it for that one. They didn't do it. They didn't do it for every single.
Oh, it'd be intolerable if they did it for like.
They did just the one, and it was perfect. The line about eating the entire family-size bag of Skittles and your jaw hurts now.
It was also the kind of ad that they used to have on like Nickelodeon, where it's kids talking to like two kids.
Skittles are inherently Skittles are just a funny candy to say. Skittles. They are. Think about it.
Skittles.
Was Alan a non-binary person? My father.
Yeah.
Tag, the answer? Yes.
Queer icon, Alan.
He's also like programmed to be the sidekick. Like when Ken hits the fucking wave, Alan's the first one to go. He just starts screaming like.
Ken!
I would like to sincerely apologize to all the Barbies I decapitated as a child.
Oh, that's so real.
As long as this isn't the person who's swallowing them.
Oh my God.
Is this going to be our like? There's like a possession, but it's like the Barbie fucking.
Oh man.
We'll talk about that with Renee. I knew Alan would be a feminist for the wrong reasons, of course, but a feminist nonetheless.
You're such a small bean.
Protect Alan at all costs.
Barbie, mid-dancing. Do you guys ever think about how we might have started a chain reaction that would destroy the entire world?
Oh my God.
So good. I have no notes.
Yeah.
Ken out of Ken.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, yes. Good. Excellent.
Nice shout out to the Alan poster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So great.
Historically inaccurate film. All of my Barbies used to scissor.
This is what I'm talking about. It was the most inaccurate part of the movie.
All they
The
needed
Barbies must scissor.
Y'all know there's
All
gonna be a
queer
Barbie porn
representation.
parody coming up in a few months. I would
Birkenstock,
know.
not enough.
All they needed is just the one scene where like what's her face weird Barbie just picks up a pair of scissors, just looks at it, looks kind of turned on for a second, and just sets it down, and that's all you need.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I wonder.
A tribute to all the girls.
Greta,
These are the
Andy's got
Barbies.
notes.
By the way, I just want to like point out that after playing Alan, fucking Michael Cera has literally grown the beard to make sure
For
that
some
he keeps
reason.
his that he
He's
keeps
like, I'm
his,
a man. I'm a father.
All right, all right.
Can't believe
So those
it.
are the letterbox one-liners for Barbie. Please, please, please. Do. We need some rap air horns for sure on that. Please follow the show. Moving
That's
Extravaganza. That is Patriarchy Ken over there, party at the Mojo Doso Casa House. He is logging all the stuff that we do on this show. And so
I
much
guess
more.
I guess I just give out invitations to like places from the movie now, because when we did Kicking and Streaming, I was like, yeah, we're going like party at the fucking townie bar. And
Yeah.
then this time, like party at the Mojo Dojo Casa House.
Yeah, well, you gave out. Didn't you give out a Blue Sky invitation like last week?
For your
Or week
Oppenheimer,
before?
it'll be like party at Lawrence Livermore Labs. Boo, boo, boo. Like-
Yes, that sounds like a good party. Conan, I'm Conan Neutron, of course. The Mojo Dojo Major Domo. Look it up. I am watching all of the highbrow stuff and the midbrow stuff. Follow me along for the Criterion Challenge. I got 12 more. 12 more people. I'm ahead of the game. There's people that have finished already though.
Okay.
So I feel good about myself, and then I was like, oh, people are done? How? And I'm like, oh, because I'm watching movies for this. But anyway, follow me along for all that. I'm all up in that biz. That's how I know Lauren, actually, is through Letterboxd.
Yes, Letterboxd.
Letterboxd. Gang, gang.
Gang, gang.
Stereotypical Barbie is not only not a fascist, she is on Letterboxd now and again when she deigns to do so, and you may follow her on there, and I suggest that you do so. J Andrew, The Real World. Wow, that's a mouthful, man.
No, I just kept adding on to it as we were going on.
He wants to know how many Y's are in misogyny. Well, I'm just going to tell you, why are you watching the things that you're watching? Nobody knows, but you're doing it either way, whether people are interested or not. And I appreciate
Yo,
that
bro,
about
if she
you.
gives you 3 Y's on misogyny, she's into you.
So if you want to see all the crazy, obscurest Andrew the Real World, we apologize for the error, stuff, please follow him on Letterboxd right about now, too. Lauren is Lonely Goat Herd.
Yes,
Never
I
has
am.
made sense for me in any way, shape, or form.
It's
that
different than
username.
all of my other handles.
It's the only one. You're so brand consistent except for Letterboxd.
Oh my gosh, yeah, no. I don't have marketing synergy. Unlike Barbie, I don't have marketing synergy.
It always made sense. It always made sense to me because she's like a theater kid, right? Like
Yeah.
well.
It's a Sound of Music fucking reference.
Yeah, I thought it was a Majority Report reference. What are you talking about? Sound
Oh,
of Music?
okay, yeah.
It's a Sound of Freedom reference.
Look, she's not only film critic Barbie, she's not only our official Greta Gerwig correspondent. She's logging stuff on Letterboxd, and honestly, I found a lot of great stuff from following Lawrence. So,
I really wish we could play the.
you should follow her if you know what's good for you. So
I really wish
making
we
this a
could
threat.
That broadcast news, breaking news.
Yeah. We should.
could have
I keep
announced
forgetting
that. It gets flagged every single time.
I said I was gonna do that forever ago, and I didn't do it. But whatever, I'll get around to it. But I keep writing theme songs for this show, though, and that's pretty good.
Yeah, right.
Justifying this. Somehow, the breaking news theme would take me like 10 seconds, and I still have not remembered to do it until we talk about breaking news. But anyway, the breaking news there is those are all the letterbox handles for the 5 people on this show. So follow all of us if you feel so inclined. J Andrew, The Real World, weird J Andrew, as some people call it. Please take us away with the plugs.
All right. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, please do all those YouTube things. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. And the big ask is to watch the video to the end. That allows you to hear a great Conan Neutron song. And that allows other movie fans to find our content. So please.
We got to get one of those bots that does the, halfway through goes, Like, subscribe.
Oh yeah, like, subscribe. Yeah,
Like the
do
Miss
all that.
Mojo. Hi, this is Miss Mojo, and you're
We gotta
watching.
do it- we
And
gotta do it like-
blah,
we
blah,
gotta do
blah.
it
Yeah, like the
this.
stream. We'll get Dan from the internet to come in and tell us.
Perfect.
Yeah,
tell us what's up.
And also we're over on Twitch, so you can do the Twitch things like throw us a sub. The big ask over on Twitch is if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can subscribe to our channel for free. Doesn't cost you anything, but that actually really does help us out. It helps us, pay the bills around here. We do have bills that we got to pay, and we greatly thank if you're able to do that.
I heard the StreamYard, if you can't pay them, takes one of your fingers.
It's true.
They're no joke over there. Jesus Christ, dude.
Man, Ben just like go to Andy's house and
Exactly. Wow.
Yeah.
StreamYard don't play.
You can find us on social media. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course now we're on Blue Sky, which is exciting. So find us over there. We usually tag each other on.
It's like Twitter with less idiots, basically.
And
Blue
no
Ski
video
Blue, bro.
gifs.
And
Yeah.
Christina likes Threads better because they can do GIFs and animate or whatever. Anyway.
Yeah,
It's all
fine.
garbage. Sorry. Peace and love.
They've got-
Peace and
they
love.
should
Oh,
have.
there anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, follow us on the garbage I mentioned.
Yeah,
Garbage.
Mastodon,
It's our
Spout.
garbage.
They should have rolled out like the Blue Sky invites or whatever with the fucking Barbie movies, like where he's like Brewski beer me, bro. Be like
Yeah.
Brewski beer me.
Blueski beer me, bro.
Yeah, that would have been great. But if you want to help us out some more, you do have the ability to subscribe to us through Patreon. The nice thing about that is if you are watching this in the future, you will not have access to the after party that we're going to be starting soon, unless you are a patron on Patreon.
And you want to
you're
stick
doing-
around because they get wild.
They do.
Hey.
They do.
I'm
She's not
drinking-
wrong about that.
I'm drinking Bacardi tonight. I'm going hard, turning up. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have someone
We're
throw
gonna
a beer at
dance
me, and
the
I'm gonna
night
go,
away.
Brewski beer me, bro, and then they're gonna smash that beer against the wall. You know,
It's going to be
Exactly.
wild.
because I don't
It's gonna
catch
be-
things very well.
Just like the Sex Pistols tour of the United States
be-
when they were in Texas.
There'll be some wild antics to be sure.
That's right. Obscure concert references from me.
It's not that obscure.
No, it's not. But it's not something everybody knows. But yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, help us out over on Patreon. Get access to the after parties forever. Conan.
After party
Party forever. After party forever. Dude, come on. That first one was really
Slower as we
solid.
got.
I got super empowered after that first one. I was like, oh no, and then we
And then it went downhill from there.
didn't work.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. That's really
It's
a
too
good
late to start
metronome.
moving on traffic on MySpace.
Thanks for coming to my page, Blingy. Everything's flashing.
Welcome. Thank you for coming to my Mojo Dojo
Mojo-
Casa.
Yo, I would straight up make a Mojo Dojo Casa House MySpace page for sure.
100%.
Jack. Was it Jack?
And when you fucking log on to it, it plays fucking Matchbox 20.
Yep. I wanna like at full blast, and you don't know where the
Yeah,
fucking
and you
box
can't
is.
turn it off, which is the thing that kids today have no idea, by the way.
I want to take you for granted.
And then all of that was
Granted.
terrible, and it's somehow still better than literally anything we have now. Somehow.
Yeah.
I was gonna.
Remember,
I was
like
gonna
people
say,
had the MIDI version too.
I was
The
gonna say,
MIDI version.
I want to take you for granted, and then say, no, we don't take for granted.
No,
People
no,
subscribe to our
it's
Patreon.
One
Patreon.com/movie.
Exactly.
That was a good synergy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good Kenergy.
Yeah.
Good synergy. Good synergy. Good synergy.
So Conan, you have a new album coming out really soon.
I do.
Or
You can get
LP, yeah.
pre-orders for Adult Prom are available now. And this is a split LP, not EP, as mentioned in the opening credits. So,
Which is stands for
pedants-
long play for people who don't know.
Beware. It's long player. Right, exactly.
Yes.
6 songs each. This is the front cover, which is Lungs Van. And this is the back cover, which is Conan Neutron's Secret
Ooh,
Friends
pretty.
Band.
Yeah.
That's
Give
the
me that
thing where I
crown.
left my track jacket.
It's It's neutronfriends.bandcamp.com for that. Out on Learning Curve Records. We are pre-orders available for digital, for CD, for LP. We also have a set of West Coast tour dates that we are doing. And so that's we got Tempe, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Sacramento, Reno, Eugene, Portland, Bellingham is cut off because
Slay, I'll see you at the bottom of the
Seattle
hill,
for
Conan.
Rat City Recon, and those are all with Lung, who we love. We love Lung.
And
Yeah,
apparently
which you can actually hear their
Yeah, I
track
think that,
off that album
um,
on the off the.
I think we I think my things are dead.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's do this. Lauren, we're gonna be pretty near you.
Oh yeah, Bottom of the Hill's my favorite venue in town. I'm gonna come see ya.
And it's an afternoon barbecue show too, which is awesome. Those are God. It sounds so much better on these headphones. I look cooler with the AirPods. Not that anyone can look cool with AirPods. Don't get me wrong, but like it sounds so much better with these.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's like, oh, this is so much better. I can hear that dog barking so clearly.
It's like crystal, I tell you, crystal clear.
I tell you.
I'm muting.
So neutronfriends.bandcamp.com, learningcurverecords.bandcamp.com. I got like a bunch of media stuff that's coming up, but like whatever. Like that's just follow me on all the things. It's
Yeah, and I just want to say, I listened to the 2 tracks that are available on Bandcamp, and they sound fantastic. The Conan Neutron song completely got me pumped. The Lung song was, I was not expecting that cello, and
they're no joke.
Jealous of that sound.
And what's cool about this release, I think, is that it follows I consider it a 90s thing, but we cover a Lung song and they cover a Conan Neutron The Secret Friend song.
Ooh.
And can I just say Lung's version of The Impossible Task off of our record Dark Passengers? To me, it sounds like PJ Harvey, and I'm way into that.
Yes, that's awesome.
So there you go.
So yeah, pre-order that. Do the what is it, the Anthony Oliver thing or whatever the hell the guy's name was, Oliver Anthony, that country guy that basically got all these pre-orders for his album that now debuted #1. So
I heard about that. Yeah,
make Conan debut #1 by pre-ordering that now.
I got it. So that's the one that hey, this racist made an album. Great. I don't get it.
Whatever. The whole thing is that he had some people behind him telling people to pre-order.
Reacting to it.
Pre-order Conan's album right now.
Yeah, buy my stuff. Thank you. Yes.
You didn't make a video where you're whining in the woods about how poor people on welfare get fudge rounds. So how do I know? How do I know whether I can listen to you?
That was my first mistake.
Next time, next album.
Good news. There's lots of woods in Wisconsin.
Yes, exactly.
Real America, baby.
You have a show called Conan Neutron and the Secret Friend. Called Platonic Friend.
It's literally behind me, Andy.
Sorry, it just slipped out because we were just, never mind.
You have a song. You have a show called Tonic Sal. Is that right?
Tonic Sal.
Tonic Sal is my old school, old saloon name.
Really?
You hadn't had the Tonic Sal, see?
Tonic Sal.
Sounds like a ripoff, a ripoff like Howard Stern. He's like, it's Tonic Sal in the morning,
yeah.
And I'm making these, I'm making these Jezebels, fucking drink bitters, and then they go off. You know what I mean? I'm Tonic Sal.
Not the Jezebels.
The name of the show is Conan Neutron's Protonic Reversal. I did 3 episodes last week. I had Mr. Flies on, I had Mike Hart from the God Boys and Thrall on, and then I had all of Steel Pole Bathtub on. First appearance of all of them together in 20 years. God damn it. These comments. That episode is still only available for patrons. It has not been put on the general feed yet, the Steel Pole Bathtub episode, but it is Dorothy Kent from Steel Pole Bathtub revealing that she is Dorothy Kent and not Darren Morex anymore. So for people that are into weird music, that is a notable thing. I was incredibly honored to be the medium for which that was communicated. And it's a great time. It's if you're remotely into that band, you need to check it out.
Amazing.
Yeah, and Kristina, I forgot to mention, Conan also has a Patreon. where you can actually go and get that episode, right?
Yeah, $1 a month. Bernie Sanders rules. You know,
Patreon.com/TonicSal.
People are sick and tired of not being able to get Tonic Cell content for cheap.
The American people want premium cocktails delivered to their house at a reasonable price. We should not be paying $25 for bitters. It's not right.
It's too much. Nobody wants it.
That's my president.
Exactly.
The American people want old fashions delivered.
Anyway, $1 a month to get early episodes of my show. It's a bargain if you're into that kind of thing. And some of the people that watch the show are. So there you go.
Fantastic. And Kristina, you
fantastic.
I was trying to make a better transition, but there we go. That's the transition I ended on. Kristina, you have a Twitch show, and you have a big appearance coming up with Forrest tomorrow.
Yeah, we're gonna hang out with Dan from the web, Ravana, Jessica Burbank, and a few others, and it's gonna be lots of fun.
Y'all were on last week on that show too.
Yeah.
We're
busy.
We're gonna end up being their third and
They're
fourth
token
mic.
white folks.
Awesome.
And we got told last time that we might be a little too white. So we got
Yes.
But yeah,
Podcasters so white.
Yeah. 8:45 Eastern tomorrow, 5:45 I guess Pacific time. We're gonna be on for the GOP debates.
Oh sure.
Yeah.
We're gonna be
Which Trump
watching
will
those.
definitely not show up for.
Which
it would be really funny if he just in the audience.
He's
watch it
streaming
like
on
Instagram.
Truth Social or wherever the hell that guy's up to. I don't know.
He has to go
and
to-
now entering the building.
He's streaming from the county jail.
Yeah,
from
on
lockup.
Thursday he has to turn himself in at Fulton County Jail. Like that's
Awesome.
his, like
I don't know what's worse, being on Tucker Carlson or go be turn yourself in for jail. It's a kind of a toss-up for me. I don't know. I'm weird that way.
Would you guys rather have cocktail night at Mar-a-Lago or a weekend retreat at Fulton County Jail?
It's like you can do Tucker Carlson or ritual suicide. Ritual suicide sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, you could make a Mishima remake of like a Tucker Carlson-esque character that does ritual suicide.
Yeah, who wants to reinstate the emperor? Oh shit, nobody? Oh, my bad.
The emperor.
Word.
Where's he gone? You asked. Why are we so capitalist?
Yeah.
Where's the ultra nationalist? I have so many questions. Tonight on Tucker Carlson, I commit harikari.
Yeah, dude, I would watch. I would finally watch that show if that was.
Yes.
Yeah, harakiri. Yeah, harakiri.
And Kristina, you have your Twitch show too.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I forgot we were on Christina's plugs. My bad.
Yes.
Anything coming up this week, or just
Probably
it's there?
I'm gonna be busy, but like probably Friday when I stream, we'll probably go over like the Trump, surrender.
The perp walk if we get one.
Surrender, but don't give your perps away.
And of course, Kristina also has a Patreon, so please go there and support Kristina's Patreon. It's patreon.com.
Like $1 a month. Yeah, my mom wants to become a patron. I'm like, you're already a Twitch subscriber. Stop giving me your money. You can barely.
That's the only way you can get
afford
money
to
out
pay
of
me
it.
now.
You just got to keep joining websites and then asking. That's how you get your money from your mom.
Yeah.
Stop giving me your money. The Christina Oak story. Thank you.
Yeah.
The American people are sick and tired of me getting all your money. Please stop giving me your money. I'm not running for president. Every day I get $27 sent to my home. Save it.
A crisp 27.
A crisp $27 bill. I didn't even know those existed. It is Richard,
$27 bill.
It is Richard Nixon on it for some reason.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What's next, Andy?
I was going to ask what Lauren's up to, if she has anything she needs to plug, because I know last time you had some shows.
This is how Lauren's feeling right now.
Yeah. I just closed Hunchback of Notre Dame, so I am on hiatus. And so I really don't have that much
Were you
going
the
on,
hump?
but that's not to say that I won't be. So follow me on Letterboxd. Also on Instagram at Suburb Survivor. Like I said, no synergy. I have a different screen name for everything, so you can never find me on all the other platforms. So I'm at Lonely Goat Herd on Letterboxd. I'm at Lauren Chouinard on Twitter or X, and I'm at Suburb Survivor on Instagram.
Fantastic.
And sometimes I'll just have little, actually, I do have something to share, which is I'm going to be doing.
That's awesome. I'm glad
I had that same
Exactly.
coat.
I will be starting to do burlesque and drag starting in the fall.
Ooh,
so if you
word.
follow me on Instagram, you can figure out what I'm doing as my alter ego, Maria Von Thirst Trap.
That's right. I forgot that was the name. Yeah.
So look out for those performances and come support me up in San Francisco or wherever you get your local drag.
Whatever you get your
content,
thirst
I
traps,
guess.
really. I mean,
my idea for a drag performer would be Rhonda Santis.
Oh, do it! Capitalize.
What are you planning on doing shows at CPAC?
I hope you do.
Follow Rhonda Santos around and be like, yeah.
There's that one drag queen that they dragged out of she's a MAGA drag queen, I guess, and they dragged her out of CPAC. They're like, get out of here.
Disrespectful.
I gotta say, I've been
like,
to
I'm one of you, and they're like, no, you're not.
I've been to where CPAC is, and it's an absolutely beautiful building and area because it's like right on the
But then it gets
Potomac
infested with GOP nonsense.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, I got to see
the vermin.
there was a Beatles fest, and I got to see a bunch of Beatles cover bands right on the Potomac, and inside where they have the CPAC was like a bunch of people selling Beatles merchandise.
That's kind of sick.
Yeah.
That's a better use of that space.
Did
For sure.
they the famous right wing Beatles cover where it's not I get by with a little help from my friends, it's I get by myself, and then it's like in
I get by myself by my bootstraps.
And then the rest of the set is just Taxman over and over again. Actually. Thank you. Anyway, what's next?
What would you do if I say attitude? Would you set up and walk out on me? Yes, you need to get better at this. You need to pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
The other one is when I'm 64, in parentheses, fucking no SSI.
Okay. It's got an asterisk. It's a meta commentary. It's better typed out, really.
Will you still need me? Will you still No, I won't. Save money now.
I've got my 401k. I don't need that. All right. That has to be it for the plugs, right?
It is.
Okay.
I'm just out here driving the car.
Yeah. You really are, though. That is the thing I like best about this view is that Andy looks like he's driving the car. He looks like he has a weird baby arm, but he's driving the car.
You're at the position that fucking Alan was in when he's like, I can't hear the song anymore, and he popped up.
Wait. Let's try this. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, now I'm driving the car. That's right. Neutron's in the driver's seat now.
Oh no, the Bronco.
We're going straight to the top.
Me with Forrest, and Forrest can have Ken's hair.
Oh my god!
Almost. So close.
Finally
So
got
close.
hair. Wait.
So
Move your
close.
head to the side.
Nope, not there either.
All right, Kristina, you can drive. Wait. Oh, damn. God damn it. Not Forrest.
Women
It
can't.
doesn't have.
No,
There you go.
women
This is the screen cap.
This is the kingdom. Here in the kingdom, we do not let women drive.
Christina's the only one dressed appropriately for the picture. So.
Yes. What do you think? You really think I'm wearing black for Oppenheimer? You really think I wouldn't dress as Barbie for this? Come on.
I doubt a lot of things. I would never doubt you, Christina.
I'm pretty happy nobody converted Ken to Islam.
What?
It's just like
we got an after party. This is classic.
There's different versions of the Ken though, right? Like his is like Saudi Arabia. He's like
it's a theocracy.
47 virgins.
He's like women can't drive here.
To be all right. To be fair, they can barely drive in Barbie Land because it's anyway. You know what? It's fine. Let's.
Wait, it's not the caliphate. It's not the caliphate. It's the Kenifate.
Wah, wah. No, I'm just kidding.
thought we were gonna do final thoughts.
If you like this nonsense,
Ken's like, no,
stay tuned.
That's haram.
So, Laura, what are your final thoughts on Barbie?
Thank you.
My final thoughts. I kind of just feel what Conan was saying earlier, the fact that we were able to get out a feminism 101 gender studies course out to mass audiences across America and across the world is pretty fucking dope. And also, maybe Push by Matchbox 20 is growing on me.
The most inadvertent side effect.
Yeah.
I hate this indoctrination factory. This indoctrination factory is making Matchbox 20 grow on you, you know?
Did Lauren just mic drop and like bail? Wow, that's a power move. Jesus.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
But Kristina, let's hear some, final thoughts.
So this
Final
movie-
thoughts. We want to hear them.
This
Call
movie
in.
shouldn't have worked, but it did. And I can't believe that, after waiting, finally saw it like 10 times. And it was everything that I had hoped for in a film about Barbie. Existentialism, individuality, and almost like adolescence in the sense like that too, because Barbie becomes like almost like a child to like a woman in that regards when she becomes a human.
Weird amount of Sharia law.
And I recommend seeing this film because it's actually probably Greta Gerwig always comes out with hits, so like I have a lot of trust in her that she's going to do something really really phenomenal.
Word.
All right, Conan.
Look, this is subversive and humanistic, and the fact that this movie not only exists but is this good is a minor miracle, and it's a testament to how great and unique of a director Greta Gerwig is, as Kristina was saying. It cannot and should not be copied or imitated, although it definitely will. And
We already have a list. That's crazy.
I know it sucks. It's interesting to me how something this breezy seeming and enjoyable can be packed with not just so many critiques of things like patriarchy and consumerism and such, but just how funny it can be while doing so. You can do it, people. You can do it. And if this film was just the preachy polemicism that some people say it was, it'd be miserable. I wouldn't like it. This is anything but that. And at every point where it has the opportunity to really dig in the blade, the choice is made to be fantastical or funny, and I think it's a fantastic choice. Cast is great. Gosling, who I was always been skeptical of, is absolutely fantastic. Margot Robbie might be the best possible person and only possible person to be Barbie. It's insane this movie exists. It's doubly insane that it's this good, and I can attest that it is this good, if not better, on a rewatch. And I'm really glad we're covering it. And I honestly think this is at least top 3 movie of the year for me. And I couldn't tell you. We'll see how the rest of the year shakes out. But it's been a joy to talk about it with all of you.
All right, Andy. Andy
was I was really expecting this not to work, but I'm glad it did. Like I mean,
look at how cynical we are. Like, nope.
Yeah.
Like, no way.
Like
maybe the part of it that wasn't going to work is that it's not necessarily for grown men to go.
Well, sure.
Yeah. Right. But I mean, like I did go see. I saw
the Barbie movie.
Where's the Barbie movie for men?
I saw Legally Blonde in the theater and thoroughly enjoyed that. So, like,
Legally Blonde too, apparently, also.
No, I did not see that in the theater.
Barbie movie for men is just Oppenheimer.
I didn't see it in the theater, and it's not nearly as good as the first one.
Okay.
I will stand for the first Legally Blonde movie, not for.
So is this just going to be your bit now, where you just review a completely different movie for
what I wanted to do, as you're trying to bring me off
seconds?
topic here, and I'm trying to stay on topic really hard.
Here we go. This is for Andy once. There you go. Legally Blonde. Yes, Legally Blonde.
Yeah, no, it's I will
Legally Blind.
Absolutely nice. You compare the 2 movies. That's all I'm saying. And anyways, the big thing that I really I thought this movie was almost perfect, except for one line right at the end about the whole mothers stay still so their children can see how far they've gone. But that's not really true, because as a parent, you're constantly growing yourself.
Hypothetically,
you're never actually staying still.
Yeah.
So I kind of.
In fact, it's not true. Hypothetically speaking,
Come on.
And
He's the only parent here. He gets to have his say. Come on.
No, I mean, like I co-sign everything about this movie except for that one line. And I
would
guess like
all right,
that needs to be analyzed a little bit better, a little bit more. And I know.
So you got notes for Greta, okay?
It's kind of interesting.
Come on the show, Greta.
Would have made $2 billion if you had done it Andy's way.
They're in like a multiracial family, and there is something about like immigrant families, kind of, and parents coming. I mean, parents coming over and staying in one place to like help their. Maybe that's some kind. I mean, some part of what they were going for. Although I mean, she's not. But like, I don't know.
Yeah, the line itself is a little like everything about this movie works except for that one line, in my opinion.
That line would have worked way better in Everything Everywhere All at Once. At the end of it, she was like,
"Why don't I close these? I think I'm better at." I think Andy can get his thoughts out quicker earlier on.
All right.
Actually, you know what? Kristina should have closed it. I don't know. We're a bunch of misogynists.
Yes.
Women go last. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
here's my.
She's like basically the marketing team for Barbie, as far as I'm concerned.
Here's my final bit.
All right.